want to be here.
Yeah.
He was here. If you were here, you would have more control. Here, this wrist took everything. Yeah. God damn. You like this? Hotep and Bill.
Kanye on that drum. All right, so welcome back to Sunny's Corner, everybody. How you doing, sis? Welcome to the show.
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming through. If it seems like, oh, well, she's not even giving these people intros. No, I don't give them intros. I let them speak for them damn selves.
I thought my plight in life was about saving the world until I realized I didn't have the skills or the tools to save myself.
Yep. If you're not activating now, then what are you doing? Wasting my time, wasting your time. So let's go. Until next week.
Welcome. Her name is Kim Clayson. Clap it up for Kim Clayson. Love it. Kim Clayson, ladies and gentlemen. There she is.
It does look good. We are going to be flipping seats. Like I said, a lot of the states did go through redistricting. Maryland was one of them, Florida, New Jersey. So we'll be flipping a lot of seats in really good areas.
Sonny Johnson.
Oh, is it on? Like, it ain't like I'm not loud enough. You can't hear it. You know, I can be loud without you saying. And that, you know, before that, I was always like, I'm Hotep adjacent. You know, I would always say that. But when you got to that point, when I was like, okay, now it's Hotep.
What point did you get to?
Hotep Bill. The point where when you hit the realization that it's not about necessarily winning the argument or fighting with the left or fighting with, you know what I'm saying? No, it's not about that. Now, I'm going to create the platform where you can find the content.
These last 5 years of my life have been absolutely amazing, and Chad has been a mentor and helped shape my brain. So if they call me a radical, I've been radicalized by Chad. We can blame him. He's the one that turned me into an anarchist.
Who's the bigger black supremacy? Talking about you guys.
The person who made sure we were government compliant and made us a non-profit organization officially. Shout out to Trish. Did an amazing job helping me out. I really appreciate her. Shout out to Crypto Wendy for coming out. Thank you, Crypto Wendy. Wendy, shout out to Syscoin, our sponsor.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
2, 1, boom. Hotep Jesus.
Of all the Jesuses I know, he's the Hotepiest. Social scientist and YouTube host, Hotep Jesus.
How the fuck do you get a name like Hotep Jesus?
The one and only Hotep Jesus.
Ryan Sharp, better known to the world as Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Somebody said, what do you think you are, some kind of Hotep Jesus?
Ooh, that's
I was
good.
Just like, ooh, that's sexy. Yes, I do think I'm Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus. Hotep Jesus.
Oh, this is a real Hotep brother.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
What's up, people? It's Monday. The Grift Report is back. And I got a special guest with me today, Miss Gabrielle Clark. Gabrielle, you are a courageous soldier. Welcome to the program. How you feeling today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute pleasure. You have a very, very unique case here, something that touches the minds and hearts of many people, to the right of center. In regards to this trans agenda thing that's happening, and you actually have some experience in this thing, so you want to walk through your story. I asked you in the green room, I said, was it your son, your daughter, but your daughter actually detransitioned. That's correct, right?
Well, it's called desisted. She was socially transitioned. And that means that she did not take any medicalization. She didn't take any puberty blockers or hormones. So when they're socially transitioned, when they stop, we call that desistance. When they've been medically transitioned, surgically transitioned, and they stop or try to revert back as much as possible, we call that detransition. So my daughter is a desister, but I do help the detransitions.
Okay. Now, tell me what this means to be socially trans.
Socially transition is when you are holding yourself out to be something other than your natal sex. So if you're non-binary or even lesbian or gay and you're not really, it's like just holding yourself out that way. So changing your name, using, wrong sex pronouns, holding yourself out as something other than your natal sex.
Okay.
That's something that, the stuff that the schools promote, the explore your sexuality, explore your gender nonsense in the schools, that's the grooming in schools, they encourage social transitioning.
Wow. Okay. So your daughter was socially trans. Did she change her pronouns or something, or start dressing differently? Tell me what that looks like.
So originally she was identifying as bisexual, and then she was identifying as non-binary, and then trans. And this is something that I've seen, that we all have seen as a progression, as the grooming gets deeper, and the delusion gets deeper. It's not just, oh, I'm trans one day, right? There's a process. There's an ascension or an escalation in the process. So she was initially just trying to figure it all out, and at that time I was just like, whatever. You know what I mean? Because as kids, that's what you do. You're trying to figure it out. I'm thinking it's a phase. It's not that big of a deal. But when her behavior started to change and she was no longer the person that I knew to be my daughter, that was when the cause for concern started to really well up inside me. My instincts started to kick in at that point, and I was paying closer attention. And she was identifying as trans. And I just was like, how could I miss this? Or what's wrong that I don't see what is going on, and what is this really happening? What is really going on here? And then we had to go to a remote location in Texas to visit a family member where there's no internet, there's no communication, and she went back to being the daughter that I loved, remembered. She wasn't behaving like this caricature of some, anime something, you know what I mean? Some bizarre person that doesn't exist in real life. And when that happened, that was when I realized it wasn't something that she was. This is something that she was pretending to do, or really trying to convince herself to be, right? And that was when I said, okay, there's something not right going on here. When the summer was over and she went back to, talking with her friends and that sort of thing, some of it came back, but the really harmful behavior, like the cutting and the scratching and the biting and the tantrums and all of those things, that started happening when she went back to school. And that was when I realized it's not social media, it's not just her friends, it's the school.
Oh, how old was she?
She was in middle school in the 7th grade at that time.
Oh, wow. And about how long did this episode last?
Well, it's hard to say when it really started because, the cult tells the children to hide as much as possible from their parents. So I can't really know how long it had been going on. I can't really know. All I can do is look back and see where some odd behavior started. And I think for most parents, the lockdowns is really where a lot of us saw this abnormal behavior. And the vast majority of us really, really did believe that this was just because of isolation, because of missing their friends, that they were acting out. The reason why we all thought that it was good that, our schools were offering counseling and things like that is because our children were exhibiting some bizarre behaviors that we had never seen before. Even as teenagers, they were bizarre. Seemingly, good students and normal kids started acting out of character. And so that's when most of us just didn't really know what to do. And even, with my daughter, one of her friends had been hospitalized for self-harm. We were all just very terrified for our children. And we didn't know that what was coming was not, what was coming wasn't just a natural, effect of the lockdowns, that this was something that was being forced on them at school.
Let's talk about the behavior. You said cutting, like self-harm. What other, you said tantrums, and what other signs have you seen? And how often too?
Well, I mean, some of the children that I have, I help parents. I help parents with their children the same way that I help my daughter. I created a program called Affirming Reality to help her. So from what I have heard from other parents, it's been a very, very similar instances of self-harm, stuff like eating disorders, creating medical conditions and psychological conditions that they don't have. These are all kinds of things that they learned from influencers and learned from peers and even individuals that strangers that befriend them online, and teach them how to deceive their parents, deceive people at school, how to get to a place where their parents are so terrified they don't know what to do. They just let them do whatever they want. You know what I mean? That's the there's a manipulation and a cruelty too. I mean, it's like it's the worst kind of Mean Girls episode you've ever seen. Just a sarcasm and a nihilism that, everything is terrible, so you might as well be crappy to one another kind of thing. Self-deprecation and collectivism. There's all kinds of symptoms, if you will, of this sort of thing. And it is very, very similar in all of the children. It's so bizarre how much we all have in common, even though all of us come from all different walks of life, different religions, different economic backgrounds, all of these different things, but a good portion of us have the exact same story.
And you mentioned that the cause of this was the school. What's happening at the school? That's is it the teacher? Is it the principal? Is it the curriculum? Is it something PTA? Is there something else? Like, what's happening at the school that's causing this?
Well, in all of the schools across the country, we have something like the social emotional learning program. So it comes in various different forms, but there's other influences like the Gay Straight Alliance, the GSA Club, or third party contractors that come in and have some sort of program that they are offering at the school, right? All of these programs have some kind of inclusion policy or inclusion teaching to these children. And there is an incentive to identify as LGBTQIA++. So if you're straight and you're normal and I don't even want to say normal, if you're boring, right, then you don't get your cookie. But if you are, a non-binary trans bunny rabbit, then you get your cookie. You get the attention, you get the praise from the teachers and from the school. You're stunning and brave, kind of thing.
Perks.
Yeah, you get the perks. And so, what kid doesn't want that? Every kid craves attention. Every kid craves some sort of adulation from authority figures, and this is how it manifests. So it happens at school this way because we have taught our children to mind their authority figures, to mind their teachers, that their teachers are safe, that their teachers are there to help them, and they have. A lot of educators and administrators have completely taken advantage of that and flipped it on its head. And now they are telling our children that we are no longer safe, that we are the ones who need to be, that they need to be fearful of. So our children have been keeping secrets. They've been manipulated and gaslit and taught how to do it as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, right now you're listening to Gabrielle Clark. She's been featured on Newsmax, Tucker, and even P-Dog Night. Shout out to P-Dog Night, friend of this channel. Okay, so it seems like almost a squeeze type approach, a vice type approach, where on one side you're squeezed by the perks, and the other side you're squeezed by. Would you say there are instances of children being ostracized for not participating in this alliance of some sort?
Most certainly. If you, and I had a parent, I found a lawyer for a parent, because I also do that. I find lawyers for parents who want to fight back through lawfare, like I did with my son, because that's how I got started. So I got into, I I was at the Capitol doing something else. And a parent showed me what happened to her daughter when she did not want her daughter to participate in the gay pride parade at school in Austin, Texas. Yeah, her daughter was basically ostracized and cast aside. And it made her a target for the other children. And it was like, having the dunce cap on, sitting in the corner. And she wasn't allowed to participate, but she couldn't, she had to be right there watching everything go on. And so her peers are sitting there staring at her and giving her the, whisper and giggle kind of thing. It's a shunning if you don't participate. And if you are not grounded enough in yourself at 9 or 10, then you're going to feel that shunning. You're going to feel that ostracized, and in all likelihood, the kid is going to feel forced to join in.
Yeah, absolutely.
That has been happening all over the country with lots of different families. A lot of the people who don't even like this, they don't agree with it, but they just go along to get along.
So you mentioned that the school has a gay straight alliance club. Now, I can speak for me. Yeah, I definitely would not want my children, especially my sons, to be associated with a club like that, or for that matter, go to the school that has these type of programs. Do you think that, aside from the trans issue, that there should be a gay straight club, or are you opposed to that?
At this point, no. At this point, stay away from it. Like, at this point, reading, writing, arithmetic, dim's it. You know what I mean? That's it. Nothing else. At this point, I don't trust educators with anything other than actual cold hard facts. Because, and even that has to have limits and parameters, right? Because I think these extracurricular activities that they're engaging in, they're getting away from things like physical activity and competition as the main, or even things that will further their life, like learning how to balance their checkbooks and, taking those kinds of classes, taking business courses or economics courses and things of that nature, or taking trade classes for trades. They're discouraged from doing those things and encouraged instead to ascend to a higher plane of thinking by going into something like a women's studies type class, or some advanced history class, or some advanced social civics class, a social justice class, and even the Gay Straight Alliance, a Gay Straight Alliance Club after school. It's an extracurricular activity. But those, even if you took all of those kinds of things away, a lot of this stuff is embedded in the praxis. So even in a math class, a math problem may say you have one lesbian traveling 5 miles down the road, and you have one bisexual, non-binary traveling 100 miles down the other, and when are they going to meet? I mean, it's an insane indoctrination that goes into all of this. The kinds of questions that we see on surveys, all the compelled speech that's required for a lot of these classes. It's unnecessary, and all it really is doing is indoctrinating our children and data mining, trying to get information from our children about our lives.
So it seems that the Gay Straight Alliance Club is maybe a gateway to trans.
I would say any kind of gender ideology in school is a gateway to destruction. I mean, you don't have to identify as trans for it to be a problem, right?
Okay.
You don't, I mean, there's all kinds of indoctrination going on in schools that doesn't result in trans that's still equally as bad. This was just something that happened to my daughter. And I mean, and if we're being, honest, anywhere from 20 to 50% of middle schoolers and high schoolers in urban areas are identifying as LGBTQIA.
How many?
20 to 50%. And that's according to, I mean, I believe that was either the CDC or the Department of Education. I'd have to look at the statistic, but that was their own statistic.
Well, did you see this when you were in school, when you were younger in school? Do you see anything close or remote to this, or do you see like a skyrocket in these numbers compared to when we went to school?
I'm 46 years old, and I didn't have any trans identifying people in our school. We had butch lesbians, and we had femboys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. There was no such thing as a weak femboy. Them boys were tough. Even if they were a little effeminate, they knew how to be tough because they had to be. There was not a victimhood with them. There was none of that. And if you talk to a gay man today, he'll tell you, back then, we didn't get her feelings hurt because somebody, misgendered, us or whatever. That didn't happen. I mean, we absolutely had gay people. I'm bisexual myself. We had that, right? But it wasn't some virtue signal that we all needed to get a cookie for. It was something that we had to work through in order to find what we really want out of life. It was something that it was a journey of self-discovery, not somebody encouraging us to think or behave in one way or another. And that's what we're seeing now. And the increase is scary.
Did you experience any bullying when you went to school? Did you see any bullying of anybody that identified as something other than straight?
When I was in school, absolutely.
Okay.
I went to an all-black high school. If somebody found out you were gay, you might end up getting hurt. But they learned how to be tough. Not to say that was good, certainly wasn't. But at the same time, our teachers didn't encourage any of that. Our teachers weren't encouraging people to do anything having to do with their sexuality at school. That wasn't encouraged. It was you were encouraged to make good grades so that you could have a good life, so that you could provide for yourself. Our teachers encouraged us to excel. They didn't encourage our sexual orientation, no matter who you were.
Right. Okay, that makes sense, right? Like, because what I was trying to do is trying to find a contrast. Like, how was it for somebody back then, and how is it for somebody straight now? Because it seems like, on one end, you had one type of bullying, and now you have another type of bullying. But I think you answered my question basically saying it was different because now the teachers are participating, which makes things definitely more lopsided and the bullying, way more potent, I guess you can say. Okay, let me ask you this. You mentioned you were bisexual. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that played any part on how your children viewed relationships between men and women?
Well, sure. But our parents are no longer the main source of influence in their children's lives, right? We have social media now. We have, these little doodads in our hands all the time. And our children for the past 10 years have had them too. So we're and the influences that they get in movies and television, even their cartoons, are telling them things that their parents may not agree with. And I would even go so far as to say that most parents probably don't agree with. But we have gotten out of touch as a society, and we've allowed, these little devices to govern our lives, and they have governed our children's lives. So while my sexuality might have affected my children in a different way, I'd never know that, because my children, just like everybody else's children, have been influenced by the whole of society, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by what they see on TV or on their screens.
Yeah. Okay, so in a minute, we're going to talk about your case. You got a case against critical race theory here in America. So I want to talk about that. But really quick, on this same topic, how do you have that conversation with your children, where you explain to them, your sexual preference and how you operate, and how they maybe should view themselves? Because it seems like a bit of a slippery slope where they, it's like as soon as you become, lesbian or gay, you can quickly fall into the trans trap. So how do you explain to them, okay, here's where we stop at, I guess?
Well, if we're being 100% honest, it's not necessarily the gay and lesbian people who fall into the trans trap, right? A lot of the trans trap happens with seemingly straight people. There is an element of shame that goes along with being gay that might be a little more enticing for a young gay person to identify as something other than their natal sex, if they feel like their parents will reject them, which, if most of us, especially around my age, had never even thought of rejecting a gay child, right? But and there's levels to it as well. And there's eras as well. So somebody who is in their 40s now, who is identifying as trans, may have become trans for a completely and totally different reason than what we're seeing with young people today. Back then, it might have been something like autogynephilia or even gender dysphoria. But now we're seeing what I call transgendering with our youth. They're not really trans. They're not even, some of them, a good portion of them, are not even really gay or lesbian. They're just trying to find something to fit in. They're finding a way to fit in, and it's trendy. It's a social contagion, just like cutting used to be, and just like anorexia used to be. When I was growing up, that was a thing. But it's not an organic gender dysphoria like it was before. So, when we talk about lesbian, gay, and bisexual, those are sexual orientations that have to do with who you want to sleep with, right? Or who you're attracted to. The trans and the queer is how you identify as a person, as what sex or gender you are. So they're two completely and totally different interpretations of an identity, right? So when we talk about lesbian, gay, and bisexual, that's a different conversation than when we're talking about something like identifying your gender, which, gender, some people try to conflate gender with, say, personalities, but that is not that's not how the the gender cult is identifying it, right?
How are they identifying it?
They're identifying it as part of their brain thinks a certain way, or their brain is incongruent with their physical self, and so they have to switch sex in order to make that happen. Or it can even go so far as to say they have a different gender every day, and they can be something different every day because they're so fluid. And that's where it goes into. That's why I say cult, because it turns into a belief then, and not a medical condition like gender dysphoria or even autogynephilia.
What's
right?
autogynephilia?
Autogynephilia is, how you see the guys that are dressed up looking like girls, and they're straight, but they want to be with girls, but they're dressed like girls. It's a sexual fetish. It's a sexual dysfunction.
So they enjoy
dressing like women
and being with women.
Yes.
Okay. What age do you think is appropriate for parents to start having sexual discussions with their children? And what does that conversation look like?
I think that every parent needs to make that decision for themselves. But I do believe that when your child starts to hit puberty, you certainly should be having a discussion about what their body is doing, because these people will, and they won't tell them the right thing. So, if your son comes to you and he said, "I got hairs, what the freak?" then it's time to start having that discussion, because you don't want someone else having that discussion with your son because he's too embarrassed to come and talk to you about it. Right? So, that I would say that is the time to start having some of those discussions. And you don't have to get perverse with it, right? And you don't have to do what the gender freaks do and make it weird. Okay. You can speak to your children in an age appropriate way, and you don't have to tell them all at once. You can have these discussions periodically as situations arise. Just like any other phase that you go through, sometimes you take it in stages. And every parent should have the absolute last say as to who and how those discussions are conducted with their own child.
Absolutely, totally agree. Okay, let's talk about the case. You have a case right now against critical race theory. Walk me through how that case was born. What are your motivations behind it?
My son was being asked to list his identities: race, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, socioeconomic level, disabilities. And he was asked at school.
During like a particular class? Was it orientation?
The sociology of change class. It's a civics class.
Oh, it's a civics class. Okay, continue.
Yes. And he was asked to attach the signifier of privileged or oppressed to each one of those identities. Well, I'm biracial. My mother was Black and my father was white. My first husband was Black and my second husband was white. So in my family, some of my kids are 3/4 Black and some of my kids are 3/4 white. And this was my youngest son. So blonde hair, blue eyes, white kid. His dad was a lawyer. He's able-bodied, seemingly, looks and acts like a straight man, right? So all of the ways that his identities intersected, he had to choose privileged for all of those categories. But at the time, we were living in a motel, and my son William was sleeping on a mat on the floor because I was recovering from a disability, and we lost everything. And my late husband died when William was only 1 year old. So he had no knowledge. He had not a single memory of his father. And anytime I needed to go somewhere when we were living in that motel, my son had to pack me on his back up and down those stairs. And at that time, all 275 pounds of me for a teenage boy to have to do. So there's nothing privileged about that life. Sleeping on the mat, on a mat on the floor in some dirty motel in Las Vegas. There's nothing privileged about that life. But the way his identity, the way his identities intersected, the way his intersection matrix or whatever, the way that went, he was supposed to be just privileged. And we asked for I said, this is inappropriate. I don't want.
So what, he brought like the homework home and showed it to you, or how did you discover, this exercise was done?
This was just after the infamous summer of George Floyd. And
oh, wow.
Our children were all homeschooled. We were all doing distance learning.
Right.
And I was listening to some of the things going on in my daughter's class, and I was like, what am I looking at? What is going on here? And so I didn't like what I saw. So I moved my daughter to another school that day. But I went to my son and I asked him, I said, this is what's happening in your sister's class. Is anything like that happening in your sister's class? He said, no, but this thing happened. And he told me about an incident where they were talking about, there was a meme, a SpongeBob meme, and it said, reverse racism is a myth. And there was another meme that said, or some other part of that class that said, therefore, Black people cannot be racist. And my son said, anybody can be racist. And that started an issue in his class. And he told me about it. That was when he told me about it. So I said, I want to see everything in this class. Mm-hmm. This was the first time I had ever experienced anything like this with my children. I thought that because they were making good grades and they were doing well in school, that everything was fine, just like a lot of parents. But when I saw what I saw, and I saw the assignments and stuff given, I was just dumbfounded. I couldn't believe that was taking place in my kid's class. And so I asked that he be removed from that class and he take a different class. They refused. And so we filed a lawsuit. We had no other recourse but to file a lawsuit to fight for my son's rights. We filed that lawsuit in December of 2020. By April, they'd had a change of heart. And they allowed, because listen, if my son didn't complete that class, he would have failed. And failing that class would have prevented him from graduating that year. So we had no other choice. But, when they finally decided to relent, by then it was April or March or April, somewhere around in there. It was the spring. And they decided to allow him to opt out of that class. They expunged his record and and he was able to graduate. But by then the damage had already been done. So we continued on and refiled. But that case has since been resolved. And I am under an NDA, so that's pretty much all I can talk about with that. But we're not homeless anymore.
I love that little cynical laugh at the end there, but we're not homeless anymore. I absolutely love that. Wow. Okay, so the case resolved, and I can't talk about it, obviously, but justice has been served. Is pretty much what's happened there.
Yes.
Man, that's crazy, yo. That's absolutely insane. Let's talk about your work now and what you do. I'm going to bring it up on the screen here. I'm at affirmingreality.com. Walk me through some of the services that you provide, or what you guys specialize in.
So I help parents. I help people parent their children into desistance. So if there is a parent of a school age child, middle school or high school, that is identifying as something other than their natal sex, then I use the program that I created for my daughter to help them, because like I said earlier, it's pretty much the same thing. So using the model that I used for my daughter and using the process that I use, taking out the things that didn't work and leaving in the things that did work, I'm able to coach parents into helping their children desist, just like my daughter did. One of the parents that I coached, she watched my webinar. She watched my webinar and she did one session with me, and she was able to desist her daughter in 1 month. It took me 6 months, 6 months of really thinking and creating this program for my daughter. But she was able to do it in 1 month with just one session of coaching in my webinar. It doesn't always have, it's not always that easy, but I have parents that they're seeing some real success. And even just with the webinar, even just with that, parents were able to help their children desist. And what I really do is I teach parents how to parent their children in this day and age, with the technology, with the indoctrination, with all of those things being thrown at them. Parents just are paralyzed. They do not know what to do. They tell these parents that if you do the wrong thing, then you run the risk of your child committing suicide. So any parent would be terrified. I know I was terrified when I didn't know what in the world to do. And I was already fighting indoctrination in the CRT space. So I had seen some of these things. But, at Affirming Reality, that is what I do. I help parents, I give them direction so that they can use their natural instincts to parent their children into desistance.
Okay, we're going to dive a little bit more into those services, but first I want to ask you, do you find any links between this gender thing and CRT? Have you seen any links between the two or anything like that?
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes. And it is, what is really scary about it is that the intersectionality situation opened up a terrible door, right? So if your identities intersect in such a way that makes you just a privileged person, you don't want that, right? So you can't change your race. Well, sort of, I guess. You can't change whether or not your parents have money. You can't change, your religion. This is also one of the reasons why you see people leaving religion, why there is this nihilism, and why the attack on religion with this gender ideology. It is to try to give yourself a way to signal that you are not just privileged, that you get it, that you're oppressed in some way. So say you're and it affects girls quite a bit more than boys, autistic also. it does, because no girl wants to grow up and be her mother, right? Especially if they have a complicated relationship with their mother. No girl wants to grow up and be a Karen. So you see these affluent white girls identifying as gender, as non-binary or some such nonsense. And when you look at it and you're like, okay, how did you come to this? That's one of the things that we're seeing. And it is regional too. So there are regional differences as well of the reasons why, right? There's also, like I said, this timeline of that happened. So some of the children that are adults now that are detransitioners, some of those people, when they were children, there was some sort of trauma, sexual trauma, or some sort of childhood trauma that caused it, right? That caused a disembodiment. But like now, it is a transgendering, and I do think that CRT has escalated this situation a lot more than anything else. I'm in the process of writing a book, because the way that I have seen all of this shake out is very different from the way that other people see it, because it happened to me, right? It happened to our family. And every time I think I've reached a place to really write about it, a whole new layer of this madness emerges. So yes, I do think the CRT and SEL is cyclical, right? So the CRT opens the door for a weaponization of empathy. Everybody needs to be included. Everybody needs to matter. Everybody needs to help the people and be allies to marginalized communities. But then who gets to be marginalized? If you have a particular race, then you're already, hitting that mark, right? But what if you don't? You create one. You create something. And they also weaponize things like disabilities. My daughter was saying that she had night terrors, and she was saying that she had that she was hearing voices. My daughter sleeps anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a night. Now, I know she ain't got no night terrors. Like you don't sleep like a lumberjack at night and have night terrors. Right. So, that's the kinds of things that we're seeing in some of these children.
I just
want
to confirm something. You said if you have a religion that would be classified as privileged?
Yes.
Wow.
So and the religions have different levels of privilege.
I was just about to ask you about that.
Yeah. So if you're Christian, you are the ultimate in privilege.
Oh, wow.
So because I am an atheist, but we do have Judeo-Christian values. I was raised Christian, right?
Okay.
So we do have Judeo-Christian values. So because I believe in the golden rule, do unto others as they would have done unto you, right? Mm-hmm. Because I believe in that, because I taught that to my children. But that somehow comes from a point of privilege. Because if you do unto others as they've done unto you, then you're not being empathetic to the person who may have wronged you, who might have been having a bad day that day, or might have good reason to wrong you, and you should be more empathetic. And if you're not, then you're just exercising your privilege.
So where does Islam land on the whole privilege list of things? Are you aware of what that is?
You know what? One of my aunts is Pentecostal, and one of my aunts is Muslim, and they vary in lots of different areas, and they have lots of different ideas about child rearing and all of that. But they both agree with this. This is a no-go, right?
Right.
So one of the biggest booms to us in this fight has been, the nation coming out for us and saying, we don't want this. In Dearborn, Michigan, what was it? I think it was, I can't remember, Maryland, when the Muslim community came out and said, we're not doing this. We're not having boys in our girls' bathrooms. Then they had to listen because the matrix won't allow them to discount a Muslim voice, right? So if you, that's just like when I go out to protests and stuff, a lot of the times the Antifa or whatever, they back off of me because I'm a Black woman. So I have a position that allows me to be able to say whatever it is that I want to say, and they can't do anything about it because otherwise they wouldn't be allies. It's very convoluted, but it has. I mean, I have been able to use it in my favor.
Yeah.
Right. I've been able to use that in my favor, and I think that I encourage more people in the Muslim community to speak out against all of this. I really do, because seriously, we need everybody, but the weight that it carries with the people who are proponents of this matters to them. So we should use our heavyweight to fight them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. As we begin to wind down here, I just want to ask you one last question here is in regards to your work at affirmingreality.com. I love that name, by the way.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Now, when parents come to you, what kind of stories are you getting? How far along are their children? Is there any stories you can share? And then how are you resolving some of these things? If you can give us a glimpse into some of the work that you do.
Right. So, yes, the stories they vary and they're very different. I even had one mother who actually did transition her own child at 2.
At 2?
Yes.
Wait, biologically transition?
No, socially transition. Because I work with children who have not medicalized.
Okay.
I don't work with the children. I work with the parents.
Okay.
So I don't talk to any children.
So
right? I'm a coach. I'm not a therapist.
She socially transitioned her child, a boy to a girl, a girl to a boy?
A boy to a girl. But this is the thing. You have to understand. A lot of these people just need a soft place to land because they really did believe that they were doing the right thing at the time. Because this is what they were being told, especially in places like on the West Coast or in some of these liberal, extremely liberal and progressive run cities. So they really, really did think that they were doing the best thing for their kids, because you have to understand a lot of the experts, quote unquote, were telling them that if they didn't do this, that their children would kill themselves. I would do anything to prevent that from happening for my own child. And if I asked a medical professional or a doctor or whatever back 10 years ago, I could have been one. That could have been me, right? Because we didn't know not to trust our doctors and our educators and the people who we had grown up being taught to trust. We were taught that they were trustworthy. And now we're seeing something different. So some of these parents who realize, and there are people who do realize that they made a mistake, a terrible mistake. Even some of the detransitioners, there are 5 detransitioners who have filed lawsuits in the past few months. And so, those parents were lied to. They were manipulated. Some of them agreed, some of them didn't. Some of them got blackmailed into it. And the ones that didn't, some of them had their children taken away. So you have to understand the parents who were coerced into this, or who believed their medical professionals when their medical professionals told them what to do. Some of them, and I believe there are a lot more out there, really do regret and want to fix it. But we have to give them a safe place to land, and I want to provide that.
How does one look at their 2-year-old and go, oh, they're having troubles with their gender? Like, what kind of behavior could possibly be exhibited by a 2-year-old that you'd, decide to transition them?
So years and years ago, whenever a little boy picked up a Barbie doll, right, then it was like, oh, he's gonna be gay, right?
Yeah.
That was the understanding, right?
Yeah.
And that was interpreted later as the first instance of knowing that your child was trans, right? So if he exhibited, say your son exhibited, traditionally female characteristics during their play, or the things that they choose to wear, or things that they gravitate towards, those would be looked at as the reason why you should allow that child to explore those things and allow them to think differently, and even encourage it and participate in it in order to be a good parent. This is what they were taught. This is how you get situations like Jazz Jennings, right?
Jazz Jennings, who's that?
Jazz Jennings is the reality TV, the little boy who was transitioned by his parents, and it was all on TV.
Wow.
Their reality TV show.
Oh my.
That's how you get stuff like that. And it was on reality TV, so it must be true. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we have, we had soap operas. Our mothers watched soap operas, right? And people our age watched reality TV as a guilty pleasure, right? And they're seeing all of these celebrities, being more inclusive and empathetic and kind. The manipulation to be kind, even if that means that you no longer observe reality. So it's gotten, now we realize now how detrimental that has become in our society.
What motivated the parent of this 2-year-old to come to you and say, hey, maybe I'm doing something wrong here? Was there a light bulb that went off? Was there somebody that tipped her off? Or how did that come about? I'm
going to tell you, honestly, that's something that she would have to tell you herself.
Okay.
But from what I can see from other parents, because she's not the only one, what I can see from other parents is that they don't want to see their children become medicalized, drug addicted, porn addicted, medical patients for the rest of their lives.
I see.
They've seen what happens to detransitioners. 1/4 of all people who are transitioned have some sort of medical condition that is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. And a good portion of them end up taking all kinds of pharmaceutical drugs that they would not have to take. They're ruining their healthy bodies to be lifelong medical patients. I like I said, I find lawyers for detransitioners. My oldest detransitioner was 53 years old. He was manipulated into transitioning because he was having a midlife crisis. These people go to medical professionals when they're struggling, when they are not in their right mind. And this is what's happening. And this is why I help people find lawyers so that they can fight back.
No, that's super dope. Why? What is the agenda? Like, why are they pushing this on children? If you could come up with a hypothesis or even a guess on why you think this is a huge agenda in America right now.
Well, I mean, if I had to, there's more than one thing, right?
Right.
But if I had to say just plain old basic money, right? Greed. Because every single person that transitions, that's potentially potentially millions of dollars for that person throughout their lifetime, depending upon how young they So there are major culprits in this. Planned Parenthood has lost their cash cow in abortions, right? So they have become one of the main sources for wrong sex hormones.
Really?
Yes, that's become one of their big sellers now.
So that's what they're pushing. They're actually giving drugs to people.
Yes.
Wow.
So I mean, you can look at the gender mapper on, you can look that up, the gender mapper on, look that up in a search engine. And when you look at the number of places that you could get any kind of gender affirming care in America 10 years ago, and then look at how much it has increased exponentially, it is terrifying. It is terrifying to think that you can get wrong sex hormones, puberty blockers. Some people were even put on puberty blockers and didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it.
Didn't even know it. They thought they were getting treatment for some sort of depression or anxiety or something like that.
Yeah.
And what they were getting was something to prevent their biological process.
I'm looking at it right now. This is there's actually one website that brings it up and looks like they're opposing it. This looks like gendermapper.org, and it looks like they're tracking this stuff and trying to fight against it. This is all so wild.
Yes. All of these things that and listen, I'm just a regular mom. I'm just a regular mom I had no real interest in doing anything like this. I just wanted to garden and cook.
Right.
And, play with my kitty cats and buy aprons. Like that was what I wanted my life to be. But now I've had, after seeing this, you can't unsee it. After seeing all that's going on, and if you ever hug a detransitioner that has no breasts, you're forever changed. It forever changes you. There's nothing to describe the visceral feeling that you get. It's not even the same as someone who has had cancer and had a double mastectomy. That was to save their lives.
Yeah.
This ruined them, ruined the possibility for them to ever feed their own children if they're lucky enough to have them.
Right.
So at Affirming Reality, I try to prevent the possibility of detransitioners by preventing people from transitioning to begin with.
Well, I got to say thank you for your work. I want the chat, everybody watching this stream on the replay, et cetera, affirmingreality.com. This is the work of Miss Gabrielle Clark here. Share this website out with people. Share her services. Share this stream, because you never know who might be out there like, I don't know what to do, right? Or I know what I want to do and I need some help. So I would definitely suggest people to support what you're doing here. It's great work, great work. People in the chat are calling you very brave. So I appreciate you joining the platform. Ladies and gentlemen, Gabrielle Clark. Gabby, thank you so much for having this conversation with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was lovely.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with the Grift Report after this brief commercial message.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there, you understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Man, that was a heavy conversation. I'm gonna have to shake the vibes off of that conversation, because it's just so, sometimes it just feels so dark. So I'm gonna need a little something to get me in the mood before we dive into the Grift bag. We got a lot to talk about today. But first, Maestro, play my theme music.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, what you cooking? Step 1, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step 2, kill your old self and become new. Step 3, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step 4, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, step. Hey, Christ walk, step. And soon you gon' have to put the meal down and get some meat. Preacher sound good when you a baby. Christ, that ain't that sweet. Easy being Christian on the net, but what about in them streets? We at war with all these evil rulers. Are you down for beef? You gon' get persecuted by the world, even by your friends. It's gon' be the closest people to you. You thought that's your man. Devil working, he gon' push the limit to see where you stand. Especially when you have a weak moment. He know that's his chance. What you down to lose for the kingdom? You might lose your bands. I mean, look at me as an example. I done lost my fans. All these demons trying to bring you down any way they can. Are you gonna endure it to the end? Tell me what's your plan. Step 1, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step 2, kill your old self and become new. Step 3, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step 4, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, step. Hey, Christ walk, step.
At this point, it's like common sense that he coming. So I ain't even really Christ walking, I'm running. From all of my sins, I'm making amends with all of the people I dislike. Because if I don't, then I'ma go down with the ones I dislike. Down with the wicked. Down and conflicted. Tell me, why would I ever risk it? This new life, why would I end it? I gave God my dependence. After he left his imprint, it was all switched in an instant. When I was transformed from a misfit, I gotta follow the covenant and get it right before he come again. On fire for Christ, I'm bubbling. Don't touch unless you got an oven mitt. Left everyone I was in trouble with. When I sacrificed it, he doubled it. I don't put faith in no other men. Yahweh is my only government. I'm the light child.
Step 1, get into the word and get out the zoo. Step 2, kill your old self and become new. Step 3, turn from all the sinning that you used to do. Step 4, tell the whole squad they can do it too. Christ walk, Step, hey, Christ walk, step,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grift Report. I am your host,
Hotep Jesus, Hotep Jesus, Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
We're here every Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern time, help you get over that workday hump. Oh man, I just showed you guys the Grift bag. I show you what was in there. You guys see what's on the screen. You see what we got to talk about. We got a lot to talk about today. But first, we're going to start right here. Just Hilarious seems to be the first to speak out against the subject matter we were just talking about. So let's go to the tape.
Who the fuck is going to stand up for us? Who the fuck stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? What's the only difference is you don't have a straitjacket on. Stop talking out your fucking ass. Wake up. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We the only one that fucking bleed, honey. We the only ones that can give birth. We make y'all people. We make y'all. Y'all come from us. You can't be us. You will never. You're chasing something you'll never, ever get. You'll never be that. Who the fuck is going to stand up for?
Just Hilarious has chosen violence. Wow. Hold on. I want to. All right. So. All right. Here this account goes. It's the way that cis black women are showing us that Just Hilarious don't speak for all natural born women is giving me life. So I guess some people have virtue signal. Let's take a look at this. Let's listen to this.
Are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We the only one that fucking bleed, honey. We the only ones that can give birth.
How do we gatekeep something that we were never really included in or?
Oh shit, they done started the mental gymnastics.
We are the gatekeepers.
Included in
birth.
How do we gatekeep something that we were never really included in or a part of? Because these versions of femininity and womanhood and gender, black women were never really invited to that club. Not for real.
Not on a Monday. Not on a Monday. Not on a motherfucking Monday. Hold on. Before we even dive into this shit, I gotta put my disclaimer up before I say something crazy. Disclaimer: this stream contains adult humor and was created strictly for comedic and artistic purposes. No offense is intended toward any products or individuals featured in this video.
They don't think of us when they think of those versions of femininity and womanhood because gender.
They? Who is they? And why do you give a fuck what they think? If you're a woman, you're a woman. You don't need permission from anybody to be feminine or be a woman. What are you talking about? We are so lost. Oh my Lord. I had to pause the video. I need a second to just, because my blood pressure start going up. And I don't want to cuss nobody out on a Monday. I don't want to cuss nobody. This is my first topic. I don't want to start the cussing already.
Is a colonial construct, not just a social one, a colonial one.
What?
Colonial people, when they think of invited to that club, not for real. They don't think of us when they think of those versions of femininity and womanhood because gender is a colonial construct, not just.
Oh my fucking God. Gender is a colonial construct. Oh my God. What is going on here? Gender is a colonial construct. You know what the colonial construct of gender is? When you start adding all these different flavors of gender, then now we're talking about colonialism. The colonization of the minds of Americans and everybody else affected by this disaster of an ideology, this cancerous, malignant ideology, that we can contribute to colonialism. Male and female? Nah, baby girl. Nah, baby girl. That goes back to antiquity, before you concern yourself with European colonialism. Even the African ancestors knew there was a man and it was a woman. Even they know. Everybody know. This is some new shit.
It's a social one, a colonial one. And what I mean by that is these different gender expressions and sexualities and gender identities existed in Africa pre-colonialism.
Oh my fucking God, no. Oh no. No, she didn't. Oh shit. Oh Lord. All right, maybe she's going to back this up with a source or some evidence. Let's see.
And I know you guys do not like to listen to that, so you don't have to listen to me, right? Because there's an article on JSTOR right now called The Deviant African Genders That Colonialism Condemned. And it's
The Deviant African Genders That Colonialism Condemned. European travelers and anthropologists found that their gendered worldview didn't easily map onto societies they encountered. All right, let's find this article. Let's pull this up on the screen. Let's go to our Google overlords. The Deviant African Genders. Let's see. Let's put this on your screen so you folks can see it well. Lord, man. Oh my God. Can you guys see that? You guys can see that, right? Good. Let's look. In pre-colonial times, wrote the late feminist scholar. Oh shit. You fucking got this shit digging up by fucking feminist scholars. Women in West Africa were conspicuous in high places. They led armies, often played important consultative roles in politics. And in the case of the Lovedu people, present-day South Africa, they were even supreme reign queens. What it meant to be a woman in many African pre-colonial societies was not rigid. Okay, the Muduko Dako, or effeminate males, were treated as women and could marry men. Okay. What year is this? What year? What year are these? Because I'd like to confirm that these are truly, in fact, pre-colonial societies. But let's assume that she's right. There were also Chibados and Kimbanda of Angola, male diviners whom some scholars have argued were believed to carry female spirits through anal sex. There is among the Angola pagan much sodomy, wrote one Portuguese soldier in 1681, sharing one with the other their dirtiness and filth, dressing as women. Writing in 1938, anthropologist Melville Jean Herskovitz imputed assumptions on woman-to-woman marriages that were, in the words of the anthropologist Eileen Jensen Cridge, foreign to the institution. He insisted that it is not to be doubted that occasionally homosexual women who inherited wealth utilize this relationship to the women they marry to satisfy themselves. All right. There is among the Angolan one Portuguese soldier. All right, so they got the account of a Portuguese soldier. Okay, so in another story, the Inquisition in Brazil had heard complaints about Francisco Manicongo, one of the Negro sodomites who served as passive women from Central Africa, who had to be punished for being deviant in the eyes of Christians. Europeans averse to what they call sodomy expressed distress towards the idea. Now this is where I'm starting to get the heebie-jeebies, because they're telling me this is pre-colonial times, yet all of their accounts are during colonization. And also, colonization isn't exclusive to the 17th century. You had colonization that goes back, 1000, 2000 AD. So the idea that this is pre-colonial times, well, I guess they deem pre-colonial times a different time period, but obviously a lot of that is by design. Transgressive gender performances. Originally a slave. Okay, so one of the targeted was Victoria. Victoria is popularized by the groundbreaking work of the Brazilian queer historian Luiz Mott. We know of Victoria, originally a slave named Antonio from Benin, West Africa, was the authoritative accounts of the Portuguese Inquisition in Lisbon, which had her arrested in 1556. So this is what I'm talking about, right? So in one case they had 16 something, and here they're talking about, you know, being arrested at 1556. So there is a European presence in these areas, and a lot of these European presidents created destabilization of economies, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so she dressed as a woman and worked in the riverbank of Lisbon, where she would beckon men like a woman, enticing them to sin. All right, let's read the conclusion here. The same can be said about the campaigns that intermittently condemn trans men and women in Africa. In Tamale's view, there are state-orchestrated moral panics serving as decoys to distract from socioeconomic and political dysfunction. Socioeconomic and political dysfunction. Exactly. I just was talking about this. The destabilization of economies, et cetera, et cetera. What the memory of Victoria and the many other nonconforming victims of the Inquisition demonstrates is that it is not homosexuality and trans identities that are colonial import into Africa, but homophobia and transphobia instead. Wow. Wow. All right, let's go back. So let's just dissect this a little bit. Let's assume everything in that article was pure fact and nobody could rebuttal it, right? Just because you run into a group of gay people in Africa does not mean that represents all of Africa or the mind of Africa or some little tribe that some random tribe you run into. You see one gay woman and you go, okay, these people introduced the world to, homosexuality. And I believe homosexuality might be a part of the human species, but that does not equate to, like I said, let's assume everything he said was true. Let's say it was all throughout Africa. Let's say all throughout Africa people were practicing this. Let's just assume that, right? That is not the same as what we're seeing here with transitioning children. Those two things are not alike. Now, if they said, hey, you had a society here where they were dressing children as something different, you might find some parallels there or something of the sort. But these are grown folks making grown folks' decision on how they decided to express their sexuality. Yet they want to equate that to today. Crazy. Now I'd like to also point out that if you look at the Papyri of Ani, aka the Book of the Dead, this comes out of ancient Kemet, there's homophobia there. Now, that is the argument I'd love to have with these people, because I can point to the writings in ancient Kemet. Now you have to keep in mind, if ancient Kemet wrote in their papyri that they condemn homosexuality, that means homosexuality did occur. So I will never deny that homosexuality did not occur in ancient Kemet. It had to have. If the pharaohs and the scholars and the Tahudis wrote, yo, this is abhorrent behavior, you will not make it into heaven performing this behavior, it lets you know that, quote unquote, what they call homophobia is not an introduction by Europe. This is an introduction that this was introduced in Africa by Africans. One day I'm gonna cite the exact page that this is on in the Book of the Dead. If you read the Book of the Dead, it's not the same as the Papyri of Ani, because translations, and the people in charge of this stuff have agendas, and they'll remove and they'll play with the translations to remove the homophobia of Africa. So the idea that homophobia was introduced to the African continent by Europe is a falsity. It's just wrong. It's just false. It's anti-historical. Let's go back.
It says, with what the slave trade and colonialism implied, these transgressive gender performances became the target of the Inquisition. The church disseminated the message that individuals who did not conform to their idea of men and women could be a bad influence on.
Never trust a woman with a septum ring.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
If they got a piercing through the middle of their nose like that, you cannot trust nothing they say. Nothing. Zero.
In Christian colonial society. Want a more modern example? I got you. Since we're talking about biology, go ahead and ask Caster Semenya and all the other black women athletes who have had medals taken away, told that they can no longer perform in their sports because their biology, their testosterone exists outside the realms of womanhood. Don't even get me started about black women being masculinized and told they look like men. I mean, Sierra, Meg Thee Stallion. What is y'all's goal? Because people are dying. People are dying, and you want to talk about periods and uteruses and being able to have children, which, surprise, surprise, there are cis women now who don't have periods, who can't carry kids, who can't have kids.
Oh, my God. Why do they always go to the anomaly to describe something? They always go to the anomaly to describe something. We know what a uterus is and where it comes from and who's born with it, and if you can't have a period, that means your uterus is not functioning, but you still got one, lady.
There are trans men who have periods and uteruses. So again, and what is your goal? Because people are dying. Just the other day, a cis black woman was killed because a man thought she was trans and she wasn't. Black women are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by a man. And in 2020, a black woman and girl was killed every 5 to 6 hours. And
one stat they don't bring up is how the majority of domestic violence disputes are amongst the same gay folks. Let's just call a spade a spade. The LGBT community has the highest rate of domestic violence. They'll never tell you that, though.
those rates are already astronomical. But guess what? Trans women of color, black trans women, are more likely to be killed than us. So what is the goal when we're
killed by who and why? Can we dive into some of the evidence of each case? Because a lot of these motherfuckers go out here and be lying to motherfuckers, giving people a traumatic experience. You take a girl home, all of a sudden the motherfucker whip his dick out. I'd be a bit concerned too. Pause, just in case.
We're talking about gatekeeping womanhood and gatekeeping femininity.
Wait till they come for pause. That's going to be the new thing. When they come for pause, it's going to come a point where if you say pause, they're going to zap your channel, suspend you. They're going to say pause is a term of homophobia. They probably got it now. Hold on, let me see. It's probably somebody that wrote homophobia. Some of y'all gonna say, don't give them no ideas. Oh, here it go. It's already there. Somebody wrote it on one of their Medium. Saying pause isn't a joke. It's gay bashing. See? We ain't safe. We ain't safe. Wikipedia has an article. No homo is a slang phrase used at the end of a sentence to assert the statement or action by the speaker had no intentional homosexual implications. The phrase is also added to a statement in order to rid oneself of possible homosexual double entendre. The phrase originated in Harlem, New York City, natives, and made famous by Harlem rapper Cameron as a way to, so they got Cameron on Wikipedia. As a way to quash any sexual or gender error or overstep within lyrics. Okay, so they're already coming for it. Let's go back.
And you'll never be this, you'll never be that. What, all in a system that is designed to kill us anyways? Stand up. And trans women don't only matter just because of the connection between transphobia and misogynoir. No, they matter because they are people. They're not taking anything from us. This system is.
It's a wrap for the black community. It's an absolute wrap. Send your prayers up. Send your prayers up for the black community. White folks, you up next. Before we continue the Grift Report, here's your friendly reminder. Off-road experience sponsored by Syscoin. For all my HotepCon ticket holders, if you're coming to HotepCon, we're just weeks away. We're finalizing a lot of little details and making sure your VIP bags. I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been to quite a few conferences this year, big conferences, you know, big conferences. None of them have a VIP gift bag like ours.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
And Syscoin is gonna add that on. I'm gonna add on here the off-road experience. There's a link in the description box below. It says Syscoin giveaway. For all my HotepCon ticket holders, hit that link, figure out how you can get in there, and apply to win this off-road experience in Vegas. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be really dope. And of course, it's gonna include dinner out there in the Las Vegas wilderness, if we can call it. You can't really call it wilderness, because we call it a desert. But you guys are gonna do a little bit of cooking out there as well in the shade. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Maybe you guys will have a nice succulent steak. This is gonna be super dope, super dope. These guys do a lot of camping, a lot of off-roading and camping out there. Shout out to Patrick at Syscoin. It's gonna be dope. Great idea, bro. Anyway, let's get back to the Grift Report. What else is in the bag today we gotta talk about? Let's talk about Jamie Foxx. Let's just dive right into that. Let's just talk about Jamie Foxx. I'm telling you right now, this brother lost all color. He lost all color. Who is this? Who is that? Is that Jamie Foxx? Is that a clone? Is that a clone that they haven't had a chance to? Let me see if I can find the video. Here it is. Here's the video from Jamie Foxx himself. Y'all tell me what y'all think.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's prayed, man, and sent me messages.
Oh, they ruined the audio. The audio's out of sync.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's prayed, man, and sent me messages. I cannot even begin to tell you how far it took me and how it brought me back. I went through something that I thought I would never ever go through. And I know a lot of people were waiting, you know, or wanting to hear updates, but to be honest with you, I just didn't want you to see me like that, man. You know, I want you to see me laughing, having a good time, partying, cracking a joke, doing a movie, television show. I didn't want you to see me with tubes running out of me and trying to figure out if I was gonna make it through. And to be honest with you, my sister Detransitions, my daughter Corinne, Marie, sometimes things, you know, get out of hand. People saying what I got. Some people said I was blind, but as you can see, the eyes are working. The eyes are working just fine. Said I was paralyzed. I'm not paralyzed. But I did go through. I went to hell and back, and my road to recovery had some potholes as well. But I'm coming back, and I'm able to work. So I want to thank the people that let me work, and I just want to say that I love everybody, and I love all of the love that I got. And man, you know, I know they talk about people crying on videos. You know, you can do take two, but I'm not gonna do a take two. It is what it is, and if you see me out from now on and every once in a while I just burst into tears, is because, just kidding you. Not clone, man, but I'm here on earth because of some great people. I'm here on earth because of God, man. So I love all y'all. I just wanted to jump on here and let you know that I'm on my way back in love.
So Dr. Peter McCullough pointed out how in his face you can see a little bit of stiffness on one side. I believe it'll be our right-hand side, his left-hand side. It looks to be a little bit of stiffness in the face. So these are signs. I'm no doctor. Maybe a stroke, I think, is what happened here. But what everybody wants to know is, was it the vaccine?
Hotep.
Just like every other person. That's what we want to know. You know, what was the cause? What was the cause? Are we gonna get that information? Because that's just valuable information for other people who may be going through the same thing. And I think when the truth comes out, there's going to be a lot of angry people. There's going to be a lot of lawsuits, just like the swine flu pandemic of 1976. You're going to see the same thing. Anyway, moving right along. Real quick, let me just say something. You guys want to call in, text the number 202-596-5631. We do take callers on this show, and sometimes the line gets a little bit long and we don't get to you. But if you text the number 202-596-5631, I can get you in line, and I know what to expect and how many callers we got. So go ahead and text that number, and then we'll get you in on the phone calls. We're going to talk about Elon. Let's play this clip. Sonny Johnson plays this, posted this response, but let's see how Ron DeSantis handles this line of questioning.
Get your clarification on one thing within the policy. It says instruction includes how slaves develop skills, which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. Could you just explain why?
Well, you should talk to them about it. I mean, I didn't do it, and I wasn't involved in it. But I think what they're doing is I think that they're probably going to show some of the folks that eventually parlayed, being a blacksmith into doing things later in life. But the reality is all of that is rooted in whatever is factual. They listed everything out. And if you have any questions about it, just ask the Department of Education. You can talk about those folks. But I mean, these were scholars who put that together. It was not anything that was done politically.
Get your clarification on one thing within the policy. It says instruction includes how slaves develop skills, which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit. Could you just explain why?
Well, you should talk to them about it. I mean, I didn't do it.
Okay, so huge misstep, or I should say huge missed opportunity here from Ron DeSantis. And it's really simple, because this could have been a kill two birds with one stone situation. For example, if you grab me and you put me in a room with these scholars, one of the first things I would have had them do is pull in not only the work of Soul, but to debunk some of the racial disparities and some of those stories. But, here's an easy win. How about telling people that black people first started out as Republicans? That was their first political home. Why don't we tell that? That would have been a huge, it probably wouldn't even have got no coverage. It wouldn't, coverage. Nobody would have talked about it. The left would have tried to hide it. But why not talk about those things instead of, slaves had skills? It's like, well, duh. Like, is that what you're really trying to say? I mean, when you talk about slavery, you talk about skills. Many of the slaves were hired because of the skills they already possessed. For example, and it's kind of weird to say that they picked up these skills on the job. Maybe, but for example, maybe we can, Google something like slave auction poster. Yeah, let's do slave auction poster. Maybe. Okay, here's a good one. Here's some good ones here. So let's just hit this one. Let's just pull this up on the screen. Hold on a second. Copy image. We got to educate on this channel. We always got to try and educate people, bring you some of that big brain content, and give you some historical context. But this one here says Rosen, 13 years of age, and it speaks German and English. Kind of hard to read. They even mention their personality types. Okay, here's one right here. It says house servant, washer, ironer, good cook, 3 children, fully guaranteed. Here's another one, cook, weaker and iron, washer and ironer. So when you even bought the slave came with skills. But if we go back before the slaves, if we look at the colonization of the natives, many of the natives, and this is just a colonization tactic, period, where when different countries would colonize, they would find out who amongst the population had certain skill sets. And they would say, hey, this person has a certain skill set, you keep them. We don't kill them. Anybody who seems to have no skills, is inept or whatever, okay, maybe we kill those. That's sort of how colonization took place. So to say we're going to start here on skills, it's like, why would you start there? They get you a good double whammy, kill CRT, and say, hey, how about we teach black people that they started out as Republicans? Like, that's just one easy win. I don't understand how that's not there. And obviously, DeSantis has no prowess when it comes to this subject matter. And the Department of Education, that's why he deferred to the Department of Education, because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. DeSantis is not very clever, I don't think. Sonny Johnson here says, in other words, he didn't prepare, didn't know how to explain, didn't know the curriculum, just winging it while everything burns around him. Never. Yeah, I would agree. You know, if he wanted to talk about this subject matter, he should dive into exactly what took place there before you talked about it or even implemented some of these policies. You should know, what you as a governor would like to see in his curriculum, and be hands-on with it. I understand you put it in the hands of scholars, but you should be a little bit more hands-on in this. This is a huge misstep by the Republicans down in Florida, because you could have got a huge win. I would, two things, just to reiterate, two things I would have said is black people originally were Republicans. Second, we're going to start implementing the work of Thomas Sowell. Those two things would have had the left shitting their pants. That's all you had to say. We're going to start implementing some of the work of Thomas Sowell into the education system. Sometimes I think they're afraid of, sometimes I think the Republicans are afraid of Sowell. He's just too good at his work. Anyway, what else we got in this bag that I actually want to talk about? Let's go here. This topic's interesting to me. I like the way, so this is rapper Beanie Siegel talking about AI. And I love what he had to say about this topic because he thinks like me. He thinks like an empowered individual and not as a victim. Let's listen to it.
New project coming soon.
Okay.
I think I found my best friend. I think I found a good friend with this AI thing.
He almost called it his best friend. Tell you how much he's in love with it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of people frown on AI, but I think that's going to work out for me. Yeah, I had a colorful life, so I've been through things that hindered my...
So you finna say the AI got you sounding like beans back then, that's what you saying.
Yeah. So in case you guys don't know, he actually started losing his voice at some point, some sort of medical condition. So he doesn't sound the same on records as he used to.
Okay. Real soon, too.
Okay. That's crazy. Yeah. The AI finna be a game changer, a life changer, right?
Yeah, it's definitely for me. Like a lot of people that I've seen, they be frowned upon it. Like, I'm like, oh, so how can I use that? So I was talking to somebody and they told me how you program the AI, you run the vocals through there. So y'all want that old, what they say, the old beans? Because the pen's still there. It's just the voice. So if y'all want that, then I'm gonna shoot y'all something, man. So I'm gonna use AI on myself.
I know some of y'all don't mess with the AI, but I like what Beans is talking about here. This is what I talked about this on Gutfeld, where the writers were running away from AI, and I'm like, why are you running from AI? It's really not a threat. It's more of a tool than anything, and I think running from it is going to make it more of a threat than running towards it. But Beans is empowering himself. He's going to drop a new album using AI to translate his vocals, so we can hear his new lyrics with his old voice. I think it's wonderful, and I'm definitely going to be. That might be it might be a record over there. Might intro the Grift Report soon. You never know. So shout out to Beans. I just want to put that across your desk because I thought that was very, very interesting. And I'm telling you, there's gonna be some artists out here. Now, you know who's really gonna hurt? You know who's really gonna hurt from this AI thing is recording studios. Recording studios are really gonna take a beating, except for the high end ones. You know, the high end ones. There's certain things that engineers are really good at, but engineers are gonna have to change. Now that I think about it, engineers are gonna have to change the way they do things because the AI is going to be spitting out the lyrics. Well, I guess it kind of makes it more fun. It probably makes their job easier too because now you don't have to do any retakes and ad libs. And well, the ad libs are probably organic. That's a human organic thing. But anyway, you're going to find a lot of artists out here going to release albums and they're going to be using AI to record them. It's going to chop their budget in half, or well, not in half, but their recording budget probably get chopped in half. And they're not going to tell you. They're going to tell you, hey, I produced this album with AI. I'm not going to tell you that. And if you guys aren't aware of how this stuff works, is basically somebody records the record, and then they have the AI take what it hears and changes the voice. It's just a voice changer with whatever record is being installed into the AI. So that's how that works. AI is not exactly writing lyrics, not yet at least, and I don't think it'll ever really be as good as some of the artists are at writing lyrics. Because like I said, you know, human consciousness is far more infinite than the power of the machine. It's almost time to go into the phone lines here. Let's play one more video. I'm not going to get everything in the Grift bag today. I want to play one more video that I thought was heartwarming. And then we'll get into the Elon Musk Twitter X thing and a couple of videos I have in regards to that. So let's go here. Some of you may have not seen this yet, but for my listeners listening on Spotify, a young gentleman here is trying to break into somebody's house. And then the person in the house is actually come out with a firearm, shotgun.
Oh. Chill, man. You alright? Alright. It ain't gotta be like this, man. Don't gotta be like this. We can talk. I just want to go on by my way. Hey, just chill for a minute. Just let me talk to you, all right? I'm going to put mine down. You put yours down. Let's talk. I just want to go on by my way, though. Hey, everything going to be all right, bro. All we got to do is talk, all right? Hey, I done been there, dog. I done been on that side. All you got to do is talk to me, dog. What's wrong, man? What's wrong? A lot of things going on. All right, you got to put that down, though, so we can talk. And let's talk about what you got going on. I promise you. Bro, I ain't going to call the police or nothing. But you got to talk to me, all right? You can't do it like this. Let's just talk, bro. You want to make some money? Let's talk about making some money. All right? All right? This ain't the life you want to live, bro. Come talk to me. I'm putting mine down now. Come on in. Come talk to me, man. This is my brother, man. All right, my little brother. Let's talk about your little brother in the house, dog. Let's get from out here. All right?
Insane. That video is crazy. So it says something about how this person was able to de-escalate the situation. Obviously, immense amount of bravery. I don't know too many people who have a firearm pointed at them and give the other person the opportunity to shoot them. Obviously, this dude had to be from the streets and is used to combat like this because he got no fear in his heart. And, of course, he's holding a bigger weapon. He's got a shotgun. The other individual has a pistol in his hand. I can't identify what kind of pistol. Looks like a Glock. But the fact that he has that sort of bravery. Now, I've said this in the past in regards to police officers. I said not all police incidents are based upon the officer being racist. And not all violence in the street is based upon bravery or somebody being a thug. A lot of these killings and shootings are based upon fear. people fearing somebody is going to murder them. And this also happens with police officers. They are fearing for their life, and they choose, do I let my life go or it's them? And a lot of people are going to say, you know, it's going to be them and not me. I'm going home to my family. So it says a lot about this gentleman. And I'd love to see a follow-up story on how this individual changed his life. But he says, I'm not going to call the cops. He invites him into his home. They're going to have a heart-to-heart conversation. And I can't say this is the right way to handle a situation because, God forbid, you try to do this and then the person shoots your ass. You know, but it's just, this is just extreme bravery, man. And I got to take my hat off to that gentleman that handle that situation like that, because he's a better guy than a lot of us. He's a better guy than a lot of us. And a lot of times people don't commit crimes because they just, you know, they think it's fun. It's a necessity thing. It's a poverty thing. It's a Biden's economy thing.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
So shout out to them. That video was really, really, really interesting. All right, last topic before we open up the phone lines. Twitter X, Elon. And we got a couple of things to show you on this subject. Hold on. Is that all of them? And we'll get to some Laura Luma later this week. She's going to be busy. Damn, I forgot I stuffed the Grift bag this much. There's a lot in here. We got, just in case we fall short in the rest of the week, we got a lot of stuff in the Grift bag to talk about. Anyway, let's go back. This is a really interesting thread here. But before we get to that thread, let's dive into this interview here with Elon to explain his idea.
Essentially, if done right, the X would be would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number. Okay. I'm not sure what the number is, but pretty big. So it would be by far the biggest sort of financial institution. But like I said, not really in the way that people are used to thinking about banks. Mm-hmm. Just the most efficient database for the thing that is money. Like I said, like least amount of
most efficient database for money. Man, I think the first thing that comes to mind in regards to that is probably United States versus Miller? No, not that. No, not that one. There's not the 2A. This is the Fourth Amendment case. Yeah, it's this one. 425 U.S. 435 1976. And this is okay, respondent who had been charged with various federal offenses. Let me make sure you guys can see this on the screen. Made a pretrial motion to suppress microfilms of checks, deposit slips, and other bank records relating to his accounts at two banks, which maintain the records pursuant to the Bank Secrecy Act of 1970. Now, I've explained this. In fact, I have a whole presentation on the Bank Secrecy Act of 1980, I believe, on this channel. It's under the Patriot Report. Go watch that. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because we got to get to the callers. He contended that the subpoenas, Ducis Tecum, pursuant to which the material had been produced by the banks were defective and that the records had thus been illegally seized in violation of the Fourth Amendment. And this is a case that you might be able to use in case you have any problems with the government and them pulling your records. This is, some of the case law you may be able to use. Obviously, consult an attorney. Found denial of his motion Respondent was tried and convicted. The Court of Appeals reversed, having concluded that the subpoena documents fell within constitutionally protected zone of privacy. So it was repealed. And so coming back, is it here? No, here? No, here. So coming back, when you're looking at something like, and I want to replay it just so everybody hears him clear, and I'm not making this stuff up. Listen to what he says.
Most efficient database for the thing that is money.
Most efficient database for the thing that is money, aka information, the storage of information, and maybe even dissemination, collection, access, denied access, etc., etc. But we're talking about centralizing our transactions potentially. Now, I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, who has a back door to Twitter, aka X? So if there is a back door to the X company and he wants to take all of our financial transactions and put them in the X database, meanwhile there's a back door for the government. Listen, man, I don't trust it. I really don't trust it. I don't trust it. This is spooky as hell.
Like I said, like least amount of fraud. Everything's real time.
And then so that's always how they sell this thing. We're protecting you, right? So the first thing he uses to justify this is fraud.
And if it involves money in any way, it can be dealt with seamlessly on one location.
Seamlessly on one location. Now I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, the 10 planks of communism, what is one of their financial goals? Let's go to the 10 planks of communism, and you'll see right here, let me make sure you see this on the screen so you know I ain't making this stuff up. One of the 10 planks of communism, right here, number 5, centralization of credit within the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and an exclusive monopoly. Okay? So this is number 5 on the 10 planks of communism. Okay? AKA a central bank. But really the key term you have to look at here is centralization. You'll see the term centralization appear multiple times in the 10 planks of communism. Number 6 and number 5. 5 and 6, you're going to see centralization within the hands of the state. So Elon is asking for centralization. Now, what is crypto? Shout out to Syscoin. What is crypto? Crypto is the decentralization of money. Meanwhile, Elon is asking for centralization of money in this database. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I hope I'm wrong about this, but let's continue. Linda Yacarino says X is the future state of unlimited interactivity centered in audio, video, messaging, payments, and banking, creating a global marketplace for ideas, goods, services, and opportunities. Powered by AI, X will connect us all in ways we're just beginning to imagine. So this is, again, you know, Elon's probably losing his mind and he's saying, oh my God, the globalists, they have compromised Elon.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Here we have Morgan Ariel. Her koofi's on tight. She says the letter X has a long history of use in Freemasonry and the occult. My radar is going off, and this will all somehow tie into the transhumanist agenda and the Antichrist beast system. Then she shows some evidence here about X in esoteric rituals and ceremonies. And it says here, in the realm of the occult, the letter X is often associated with rituals and ceremonies designed to invoke spiritual energies or access hidden realms of consciousness. The use of X in these practices underscores its symbolic power as a gateway to the unknown. Now, I'm going to get to we'll get to something in just a moment here. A portal to the mysteries of the universe and a conduit for personal transformation. Now, what is X? X is what number in the alphabet? X is the 24th letter in the alphabet. Well, if we're doing numerology, you take the 2 and the 4, you add them together, and that gives you the number 6, aka 666. Now, dive a little bit further into, so we have 4 elements, and the 4 elements, let's do triangles. Let's do that. So we have the 4 elements, and I'll put this on the screen here. And this is from some esoteric work. Copy image address. Actually, let's use this one. This one's a lot better. Copy image address. Let's paste that. Let's put this on your screen so you guys can all see this. So here you have the element symbols, right? And you see there you have the triangle with the point facing upwards with a line through the bottom is air. Earth with the point facing down with the line is earth. Fire, no line, pointing up, pointing down, water. And then when you combine these, you get this 6-sided star. And this is a very ancient way, because in ancient times when you wanted to teach something, you used symbols to make it easier for people to learn. And the best example I can give you is what we use today to do math. We have something called PEMDAS, right? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, and that's how you know the order of operations. So we use PEMDAS to sort of remember a way of doing things. Well, the same thing happened in ancient times. Now, this 6-sided star, don't you anti-Semitic folks get started in the damn chat, because this predates all of that. But it is my gnosis, or my theory, that through the power of the number 6, things can be brought into reality. I used to call a lot of the things and disasters that happen, whether mass shootings or whatever, I noticed that they started happening on 6 days. So I would say, hey, y'all, something's going to happen on this day. And I wasn't telling people I was using numerology, but then things would happen and people go, how did you know? And they'd accuse me of being a CIA agent and all types of things. I'm like, because they do things on 6 days. So I'm always keeping my eye open on things that happen on 6 days. Now, what is today? Today is the 24th. X is the 24th letter in the alphabet. They make this announcement or rollover to X on the 24th, aka the number 6. The portal, as she has shown here, bringing things into existence. Where is that again? Hold on. Did I lose that one? Okay, I have to go back in one of my other tabs. It's gonna be okay because I used this tab. So coming back here, what did she say? What did she pull up here? She said the use of X in these practices underscores its symbolic power as a gateway to the unknown, a portal to the mysteries of the universe, and a conduit for personal transformation. So the 6 isn't inherently evil. It is just simply a portal that anyone can use or access. But what is it that they're bringing through the portal? Is Elon bringing demons into the Matrix from another land or another dimension? Who knows? Anyway, let's go here. And Zai Miri says, on the 23rd, he said this is the last day for Twitter. A new app will take its place called X, the Everything app. Here's 10 features that are coming for the Everything app. And he has 10 features here. And he says the new domain will be x.com. That currently redirects to Twitter. It doesn't redirect to Twitter. I clicked on it and it does not. You get this part free courtesy of GoDaddy message. So I'm not sure where he got that information from. But it says, obviously, you're going to do payment processing. So it says you no longer need to have a subscription button, no longer need 5 million impressions per month. You will soon get paid for profile visits. So if somebody visits your profile, you're going to get paid, allegedly. Creators will be paid from the moment they request creator verification. Ad sharing will be available in over 100 countries. It says here, and that's the bribe, right? This is the bribe, because everyone will get paid as a content creator. It makes everybody flock over and say, this is the place to be. I want to get paid. So that's the bribe to pull you into the system. The term followers will be changed. Instead of followers, you're going to have viewers. Bookmarks going to change. So it says you can be able to bookmark straight from the timeline. There'll be a search feature for bookmarks. I've asked for that. And weekly email with saved bookmarks. Don't need that. Hopefully we can opt out of that. There's a highlights tab. I've already implemented that. If you go to my page, you'll see, let's pull that up. If you go to my page, you'll see a highlights tab. And I've started to curate that a little bit. Here it is, the highlights tab. You hit the highlights tab. Why did it just redirect? Oh, okay, I hit the wrong button. So you see a highlights tab and you'll see the highlights of stuff I got going on here. So yeah, so that's going to be implemented. Shadow bans. He says shadow bans are an issue with Twitter. Elon confirmed Twitter will show shadow bans directly on a user's profile. This will include active shadow ban, the reason for the ban, and potentially a solution. So that's good news. I'd like to know, am I shadow banned? Why? And is there going to be a hidden shadow ban? Who knows? It says videos here. It says updates have been made to videos in the platform. The maximum length for videos is 10 hours. Picture-in-picture video has been enabled. The picture-in-picture, I tested that. That really is a really good feature. I can actually leave the Twitter app and still have picture-in-picture from Twitter playing, so that's great. Also, a smart TV app is coming soon, which I think is essential if you're going to have an app of this type. Easy scam reporting. The platform's color default, and then he talks about the financial institution, and we already covered that. And obviously the unveiling of the new logo as X. So with all that being said, let's go to the phone lines, 202-596-5631. Text that number if you want to get in line. Hit the line if you want to call in. And we'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How am I supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.
Strong Dad on the check-in.
What up?
What up, bro? What up, man?
What up, y'all? What up, y'all? First of all, you know what I'm saying, represented second place in 2 categories. You know what I'm saying?
Hold up. Bodybuilder competition, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations. I saw the photos. Matter of fact, let's bring those up on the screen as you talk. Walk us through that experience and the good, the bad, the ugly, and what you actually won.
So I signed up to compete in the novice category, and they didn't have anybody in novice. So the promoter, they actually called me and said, hey, we have to move you to the open. And the difference is that the open was a pro qualifier. So my competitors were competing for their professional card in natural bodybuilding. So I was a little bit nervous that I wasn't going to be able to place it all. I really felt like if I entered in novice and I was going to be able to just win it out. But since there was nobody there, I kind of had, a little bit of a confidence shake. But my wife, she stood right by me. She, boosted my ego. One of the judges who was my posing coach at one point, she helped boost my ego, and I went into the competition, and I actually ended up doing pretty well. I took second place out of 4 people in both those categories, the open category for anyone who signed up, and then the open for Colorado. And I beat out a veteran, and I beat out a guy who was up there. I think he was competing for his 3rd or so time. And really, I just lost out because of it was 3 poses and upper body muscularity. I didn't have, my chest wasn't as big as the winner, and he did 3 poses better than me. But we got judge feedback, and the judges told me that I was the only one who stayed flexed on his legs the entire time. Told me that I had a really good physique for classic physique, and said that we need you to come back for sure. You know, I was the only one who had a requested pose at the when I got my medal. The judges actually requested my victory pose, which is a pose that is done by Frank Zane, and it's like one of his legendary poses that they added into the classic physique category because of the way it looked, and they said that I had the best looking one up there. But man, it was tough, man. So classic physique is Arnold, essentially. It's the that classic proportions. So bodybuilding is, they're looking for that extreme muscularity. You're not necessarily as proportioned. Think like Jay Cutler, like a big dude, or like a Ronnie Coleman. The classic physique is based on your body's shape and symmetry. So, do you have that V taper? Are your shoulders wide? Do your legs, when you do a standing, like a standing relaxed pose, do you present that X frame look on your body? So I've been essentially training for symmetry, to make sure that my body looks symmetrical from the bottom up, and that my physique complemented the shape of the classic bodybuilder, which is what it is. So. Yeah, so it was the diet was rough. It was rough. That last 3 weeks was probably the roughest time. Everything looked like a meal to me. I was smashing seaweed snacks so that I wasn't eating, because I was so hungry. Anything I saw, I wanted to just eat it. But it was worth it, man. It was 100% worth it. Everything, the entire experience, being up there, being in the competition room, standing around all the other lifters, people who had put in just as much hard work, people who had been struggling just as much as I have. We were all there together, and it was really amazing. It was really amazing.
What was the relationship like between you and some of the other competitors? Were they haters? Were some of them cool? Were they supportive? What was that like?
It's actually a funny story. In the beginning, all of them, we were all really cool, because I hadn't gone up yet. But the guy that I beat out, he had done this before, and he actually, when the show was over, he just left. He didn't say nothing to anybody. He had no words for no one. It just kind of disappeared. And so, he looked pretty visibly angry. He wanted to come up and win. He wanted to come up and do good.
Did he place?
He placed 3rd.
And left, didn't accept his medal.
He accepted his medal, but then he left.
Oh, okay.
He left. So he came up to the green room, and my wife was like, he must be upset. And we noticed that he didn't say nothing to nobody. And there was a big, there was food out, and everybody was chatting. Like, there was a lot of camaraderie in the beginning of all of that. And, it was something that kind of went through. I'll tell you, the women were more intense than the men, though. Like, the guys, they were all like, really center focused and quiet and really trying to like focus on their routine. Yeah, the chicks were back there just like going ham on each other, just yelling and screaming and hooting and hollering. It was.
What do you mean?
Yeah, they were having a good time. They were big up in each other, and like it was like a football locker room for them back there. It was crazy. It was
and
crazy.
The dudes were more like, I'm focused, I'm in my zone. And the women are they're like, oh yeah, go ahead, girl.
Yeah, we were walking around like, trying to get a pump in, thinking about our routines, trying to quiet. We talked. There was a teenager who competed in the bodybuilding category, and this kid was, he was 14 years old and had an already incredible foundation. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Women are amazing. I gotta tell you, man, women are absolutely amazing.
Yo, the competitive nature they have is, I feel like it's just on a completely different level. And I mean, my mother, she competed in bodybuilding and powerlifting before I was born, and she's extremely competitive. So I could already understand that, that mindset that they had. But the entire thing was just, it was an amazing feeling. There's one coming up in April. So I set my sights on another one in April, but I'm going up again. I'm going up again. This is something that I want to continue doing, because it's something that you can do at an older age. It's just, nothing can match it. And doing it naturally was a really good feeling too. So.
No, that's fire. That's fire. Congratulations, man. What do you think about some of the subject matter on the show today?
So that's what I was calling in. So
what you wanted to touch on?
First of all, when it comes to African history and what they did or did not do, the things they may or may not have partook in, if Sheikh Anta Diop ain't said it, if John Henry Clark ain't said it, if Shaka Amos ain't said it, then I don't give a damn what it is. Period. I have yet today to find any historian more accurate than those three ever. So I'm not listening to anything that anyone else has got to say, especially, you got these like these queer historians, and they just search up and down the history books for one instance of some type of booty poking, and they go, that's black culture.
Right.
And that shit is crazy. That shit is so wild.
Right.
They're always trying to, tie us into that, like that, that like deviant behavior that the Greeks partook in. And I'm not with that. That's not how we were. There's clear quote unquote homophobia in Kemet, and it's not even that. They had an idea of what was right and what was wrong according to their way of life. And to completely discount them and skip over, eons in order to find, one time frame where one traveler saw some black people engaging in some acts and make that this is the same thing they do. They want to make us be the face of that because nothing, it gets more traction when you can tie black people to it, even if we disagree with it. It gets more traction, and that's all these activists want. They want some sort of traction. And also, I don't trust nobody who uses the word misogynoir like seriously in a sentence.
Facts.
Like if that's the first step, then I'm not listening. The craziest part is that these women are going hard for the people who are replacing them completely. And then another woman stands up for them, and then they turn around and become the opposition. It doesn't make any sense. The slavery really fucked us up. Getting screwed over, it really fucked us up, and it put us in this position. When they talk about the effects of slavery, what I see is things like that. I don't see, how black people are in the ghetto and all that. I see whenever we go against each other's better judgment, whenever we see a black person saying or doing the right thing and we become their enemy, that to me are the effects of slavery. So yeah, if it ain't coming out of Sheikh's mouth, if it ain't coming out of Clark's mouth or Shaka's mouth, then I really ain't got no time for it. I got no time for it. I'm listening to the master teachers before I'm listening to some queer gender historian who came out of fucking some weird ass university. I don't care what they got to say. I don't care what they got to say.
Big facts.
That's that. When it comes to this AI thing, man, I'm glad that Bean's gonna be able to put his music out like that. But for me, like I'm never gonna evolve when it comes to music. I'm still listening to Illmatic in the gym. Like I'm gonna be listening to Illmatic well into my 50s, well after that. That no one's gonna be. My music has always been old, and I haven't found anything that's appealed to me. You know what I'm saying? I'm in that generation that that kind of like grew up off of that, and I can't let it go. And maybe that's not a good thing for me, but it's hard for me to find something that I can actually listen to and vibe with. I don't like new music. I don't like it. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like the Cannon, he had what was that dude's name with the piercings on when Cannon was on the when he was running the Grift Report. I forgot his name.
Flawed.
I respect his grind and I respect his music. It sounded cool, but I don't even like that type of music. Like I don't like that new flavor. I don't know, man. Maybe that's just my spirit, and it's always gonna be like that. But I'm still, like I said, I'm still bumping Illmatic.
You know what that shit's for? You know what that music's for? I'm gonna tell you why you don't like that music right now. Because you're sober. That shit's for people on drugs.
Yeah, that's probably what it is, man. That's probably what it is.
Yo, listen, I had 2 drinks and I'm in the club dancing the thug. Gunna. I'm like, who this? They like Gunna. I'm like, yo, this shit go hard. As soon as I come back sober, I'm like, yo, turn this shit off. It is absolutely insane how you can feel completely different about a song based upon the mental state.
That has to be. But even then, when I was smoking, man, I was listening to the Sade collection on the way to work. I just love old music, man. There's something about it that just touches the soul, and it's the originality for me. Like, you know, you can only sample a song so many times before I'm not gonna listen to it anymore. You know, like 3 samples is enough for me. That's it. 3 samples is enough for me, and then I'll keep it moving. But yeah, I respect Beans using that AI. You know what I'm saying? Especially because it's going to give him new life, and I know that's really what he's been looking for. So
indeed. Hey man, phone lines is hot, man. I gotta dip early today, man.
Hey man,
gotta take care of these kids. You know what I'm saying? Well, congratulations, yo. You know what I mean? Keep that shit up, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Hotep and Bill.
Hotep and Bill.
Strong day, y'all. Okay, I see the text messages. Goldstein, you next. Goldstein next. And then, there you go.
Call from
Goldstein.
What up?
What up, bro?
You know, same old. There was a lot in the bag today, bro.
There was a lot in the bag today, right?
Yeah.
It was a heavy bag. I was gone all weekend. Producers do a good job of stuffing the bag, though.
Yeah. First, I want to say, point of contention with you slightly.
Okay.
That video with the dude with the gun and the youngster.
Yeah.
I'm calling cap on that shit, bro. I don't believe that.
I knew you was gonna be the one to do that. I fucking called that shit. I was like, yo, somebody gonna say this shit not real. And if it's anybody, it's fucking Goldstein.
Yo. The youngster sitting there. Look, youngster sitting there with hella trigger discipline. His shit never touched that trigger. Look at his hand the whole time. He pointing.
Hold on, let's bring it back up. Hold on.
Yeah, I ain't going.
Here you go. You said trigger discipline? Let's see.
Trigger discipline like a motherfucker. That's probably his pops, nigga.
That's his pops. They acted this shit out.
Acted that shit out. Trying to listen. Listen.
Oh yeah, his trigger discipline is crazy.
Nah, that's not no motherfucking nigga trying to break into your house type shit right there. That's all. And then
Goldstein synced it.
You gonna turn your back on a nigga who just drew down just because you gave him some encouraging words don't mean you can lower your shit, turn your back on him, walk into the house with this nigga behind you the whole time, and y'all just going in to have cookies and talk about some shit. Nah. It don't go like that. Look, if he was as skilled with that strap as he came out, like he came out that house and was like, yo, this is what it is. If he was as skilled with that and his calm demeanor and all that shit as it portrayed on that video, ain't no way in fuck he gonna make that type of rookie mistake. I'm calling Cap.
Hotep.
This a real Hotep brother.
At the same time, though, it is heartwarming. I will agree with you on that. I mean, if that was real,
it's not real.
But I would say that's heartwarming too. Great.
It's not real.
No.
It's not real. I hate to say it, but you didn't put it out on Front Street now. I try to have a nice little heartwarming message of the day. He came in Hotep as fuck.
This a real Hotep brother.
That shit is not real, dog. You know what made me realize it wasn't real? I'm gonna show you right here. When he you pointed it out when he turned his back on him. I'm like, yo, that shit is kind of crazy. I'm not doing that to no stranger. You definitely walking in that house before me. You know what I'm saying? No. And y'all would have had your weapon in my hand. You would have had to disarm. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
That like straight up protocol. Yeah. Like if we was even gonna do this, if this even got to this level where we negotiating now, like you just put your weapon right here. I'll just take it, dog. It's all good. I mean, I'm not gonna call the cops.
That's it. If we didn't get off right then and there, all right. If we didn't get off right then and there, then I'm gonna let him know. Listen, either you tearing that gun off, or we both some dead niggas right now.
Big facts.
This a real
We can
Hotep
come in
brother.
and talk about it. I ain't gonna call the police. We can come in and talk about it. If you're willing to do that, great. But you got to give me that gun. And if you don't, we both some dead niggas. That's it.
Facts.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. It just this shot right here. I got it on the screen right here. This shot to me was just like, you just turned your back on this nigga and he still got the strap on him. Oh no, dog. No, this was egregious. I was like, ugh. So when I first seen it, I'm like, yeah, this shit definitely not real. But it's a good message though. Like this is how we want people to solve their issues. Like for example, somebody was telling me a story, right? They said they was a part of a church and the deacon and the pastor got into it. And the congregation basically voted to kick him out and he wouldn't leave a building. And they called the cops. And I'm like, why would you call the cops? Like, this is a inter-community dispute. And you just involved the government, Uncle Sam. Like, I'm like, why would you do that? You know, if you had a problem with pastor and he wasn't moving, well, you made him pastor. So you got to figure out how to not make him pastor. You can't call. And this is why I say your white supremacy is when, black people call the cops on black people. And I'm not saying there aren't times where you shouldn't call the cops on black people. You absolutely should. But if this isn't a congregation and it's a whole congregation there and the pastor there, somebody got to knock him out.
This a real Hotep brother.
Like somebody, restrain this motherfucker, smack some sense into him maybe. I do not condone violence, YouTube and Rumble. I do not, because I know Rumble don't play that violent shit neither. And I feel him. I do not condone violence and all of that. But, somebody in your congregation is acting up and it happens to be a pastor because they got mad because pastor was digging in their ass talking about all these sins and shit. Crazy.
Yeah. See, the police, man, they either going to do it the way either way it go, they're going to do it the way I don't want it done. 9 times out of 10. They either ain't going to be hard enough or they going to be too goddamn hard. You know what I mean? Pause. But,
what else was intriguing on the stream today?
Beanie Siegel.
Okay.
That's going to be dope. But while I was sitting there listening to that shit, I thought of something.
What's that?
I typed it in the chat too. I said, look, the first nigga to come out with a diss track of the nigga's voice that they dissing, and he rapping dissing himself, that shit gonna go hard.
You saying the AI, that somebody gonna program the AI to diss theyself?
Like okay, you got the Jim Jones Pusha T shit, right?
Yeah.
Let's say Pusha T come out with a song where he rapping and then he used Jim Jones' voice to talk about how big of a piece of shit he is. Like Jim Jones.
Oh shit.
That shit gonna be dope.
Oh man. Man, that's gonna be ugly.
Like I was this and I ain't shit and I got this over here and I ain't shit and I'm a wuss, I'm a pussy and all this other shit, right?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Now, I want to touch on Ron DeSantis real quick.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be real quick. You talking about slavery. You know, you want to put a positive outlook on some shit that happened in the past, tragedy and all that other good shit, right? You know, he might have a point to that shit. I'm not going to lie. He might have a point to just putting a positive spin on some shit that happened in the past. Like, yeah, they were slaves, but look, they became blacksmiths and got hella work skills. Okay, that's great. But why, for the life of me, every time people want to reach back into the goddamn past on some tragedy shit, why is it they always neglect to do it with the goddamn Holocaust? And I'm going to just leave it there. All right.
Side quest.
Look, I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying that why don't they ever do that? Why don't they ever reach in that bag? Why they always keep reaching in the slavery bag?
You are abhorrent. Your behavior today is despicable. You've been watching too much cozy TV.
Look, moving on.
That's
Just
two
hilarious.
side quests for Goldstein. Wait till I see him at HotepCon next year. I'm putting a yarmulke on his ass.
Look, that's hilarious. She was on point, and
Who?
she taught the world a very valuable lesson. Those of us who were raised by one, we know this lesson well. But there's a lot of other people out there who wasn't. And that lesson is, no matter what you say, no matter how you say it, no matter how slick at the tongue you are, no matter what, you will never be able to outsass a black woman. Period. Oh, this is why they spend the target of her ire. This is why they spend so much goddamn time trying to sound like one.
You will never outsass the sass of a black woman.
That's right.
Hotep.
You know, look, the only people that come close is gay niggas, right? They come close. That's why, like I said, that's why they spend so much time mimicking them with the hand gestures and the head movements and the inflection in the voice, and it spans races. So even white gays act like that, Chinese gays act like that, because that's the standard for sass. All right, you will never be able to do it though. They've confused themselves to such a degree that now they think they are black woman, and she had to come down from the universe's perch as an old earth and let them understand and feel the actual power of that.
Hotep.
Period. Oh. And then I want to say Jamie Foxx was not as motherfucking white in that video that you played today as he was in that TMZ video. So I don't know what happened between then and now. And closing it off with your guest today. With all due respect to her and her plight. Nah, I'm not going for that, bro. Nah, because what it seemed like to me in a lot of ways when she was talking, and I was willing to hear it out the entire time, but what it started to evolve into, to me, is some fucking covert op shit. That's what it started to evolve into, like we played our hand too goddamn far with this movement in the current direction. We played our hand way too far with this, so now we got to pull it back. And now we got to send people out there who look like a certain thing, but who really are just another avenue towards indoctrination. That's what it sounded like to me. Now, I could be wrong. Who knows? I probably am. But goddamn. Because, like, you using all the same tactics and shit. You dusting off boogeyman, talking about Planned Parenthood is leading the league in this shit. Planned Parenthood is evil as fuck. But you didn't pose any evidence to back up your claim. And that's how weird shit gets in the door. Because you got this boogeyman, yo, look, Planned Parenthood, everybody just stop thinking once they hear that. because you already anti them. So now you can put this on them, say, yeah, they leading the league in this trans shit now because, you know, that their abortion well done dried up. I have not seen any indication that that's the case. Their abortion well dried up. If anything, that shit doubling and tripling. And if it has dried up, it's because everybody having sex with the same goddamn sex, not because people just decline to do it. There ain't been no explosion in morality in this bitch. It's just getting worse. So it just, a lot of shit didn't line up. But again, some time back, we discussed this topic, and I'm going to just close with this. Remember I was telling you a while back that when you have a woman, she's half-breed. If she's half black, half Mexican, cool. If she's half black, half Chinese, cool. If she's half Chinese, half white, cool. But if she's half black, half white, there's some serious issues there.
Nobody's kufi should be on that tight chat.
All right, man. I'll let you get, but I know the phone lines are hot. So, hold Bill, man.
Hotep and Bill. Damn, Goldstein, it's Monday. Cool off. I see London. London wants to call in. London, go ahead, call in. Jules, call in. Tune in and drop out. $20 super chat. Tune in and drop out. 1, 2, 3 $20 super chats. Different cultures treated what we call gender nonconforming individuals differently, but they never denied the gender binary. It's not until medicine and surgeries became available that challenged the gender binary. Tune in and dropout said, you cannot use an exception to the rule to invalidate the rule. This is big facts. It's big facts.
Call from
Jonah.
Jonah Ryan on the check-in. What up, Jonah?
What's good? What's good?
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Yeah, that's London, Canada, not that, you know, the shitty one.
You said who?
Anyway,
What?
I'm London, Canada, not, you know, the big one.
Oh, say less.
So I'm in the bitch ass version of the USA and the bitch ass version of London, you know. So, anyways, Ron DeSantis, CRT, and all that shit, and the slavery, whatever.
Yeah.
All these fools are already lost the battle because they aren't even on a battlefield of their own making. What I'm saying is that
Hotep.
yeah, like it started with you start with the what's it called there you know, they have this gender queer, and then everyone's like, oh, you're trying to censor. Motherfucker, you just spent how many years getting the Huck Finn and To Kill a Mockingbird taken out of public schools? Because it's got the ER on the word, but now you want this in there? Get the fuck out of my face, you know? Then the next one, right? Why is it always slavery only on the terms that are set by the left or the whatever, you know? Joe Biden's grandfather, George Biden or whatever, a captain of in a slave trading ship, you know, East India Trading Company. You know, Kamala Harris or Malaka Harris comes from a slave trading family, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're like these people, most of those people have come straight from slave route traders, and they're gonna tell people like you and I that we need to pay reparations for them.
Hotep.
Go off, Jonah.
Oh no, I was keeping it short today. I was actually just at work, so. But you know, there's two things. Like, if you're on a battlefield that you have no control of and you have no understanding of this, you've already lost, and that's what it is. Because let's be honest, Republicans are just leftists anyways, and they've already submitted to the fact that they want collectivism. And they're just arguing about how much collectivism.
Bars.
So, yeah. Anyways, Hotep build.
Hotep and Bill. That's Jonah. Chat, listen. You can overdose on the red pill. I need y'all to know that right now. You can overdose on the red pill. Goldstein, Jonah have overdosed on the red. They have taken way too many red pills. I promise you. Nobody should aspire, and only they could take that many red pills and not have an episode, an overdose episode. They keeping it within reason. They keeping it within reason. But you can't handle the dosage of red pills that they take. I don't know what prescription they on. Their red pill dosage is astronomical. These two dudes, man. What time is it? 441. 441. Hold up.
Call from
Vader.
Vader, what up, man?
Yo, what's going on, man?
What's good?
Yo, bro, you were just talking about overdosing on the red pill, bro. I'm about to bring it too, because I don't trust Elon, bro. I'm about to get into the conspiracy bag with Elon, because, man, dude, first of all, Twitter's worse now than it was before. I don't care what anybody says.
Stop right there.
Like, bruh. I keep getting these stupid fucking notes saying, are you sure you want to post this? Fuck you. Yes, I do want to post this. Like, bro, I never got that before. I'm like, dude, like, bro, I'm not even saying anything drastic. They had me thinking I'm like alt-right conspiracy theorist or something, dude. I'm speaking normal. But, I mean, all the things he's doing, appointing the WEF shill that's acting as CEO right now, that's probably collecting all our data, creating Teslas, aka electric cars, that'll turn off once someone says something negative about I'll just say China.
They gonna shut your whole life off. They gonna have a kill switch on everybody's life. You ain't gonna be able to access your Twitter, your bank account, or your car because you posted the wrong meme.
Exactly. And I'm seeing that with the community note stuff that they do. It's kind of scary what I'm seeing going on that no one is like picking up on because they're Elon fanboys. And I'm like, all of the indicators that this dude is shady are all there. The final thing is like the Neuralinks. Like, dude, man. And now he wants to control the whole money. Yeah, the brain chips, bro. The literal mark of the beast. And this AI shit, bro. There's so many things that are going on with him, but the fact that he wants to now turn Twitter with turn it into the X, which your numerology take was so based, by the way. I've been listening to Gary, but it's super based. I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. Control the money, control the hub where everyone, already basically comes together, gather information on us. And dude, I don't know. It's kind of freaky, man. There's even some conspiracy theories about him being Satoshi Nakamoto, the one who created Bitcoin. And I'm like, you bro, you don't just become a billionaire like that because you're smart. I know a lot of smart dudes that are not even close to being that level.
Well, didn't his dad have the emerald mines?
That's what they say, but I wouldn't be surprised if his dad was just a Fed. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. The CIA's got the best backstories, bro.
Damn, Elon Musk daddy from Langley too?
Bro, we don't know, man. I'm not out here casting aspersions, but I'm gonna just keep it like this, bro. CIA people always got the best backstories. Yeah, my dad is a chess grandmaster too, bro. But it's all right. Don't worry. Come on, man.
Oh my God. Damn, you taking jabs at the Tates too? Oh, it's ugly out
here. It's ugly out here, man. But hey, 60-second take, man. Shout out to y'all, bro. Hotep and Bill. Sorry for overdose on the RP, man. But
man, another one. Hotep and Bill.
Peace out, man.
Yo, the Koofies is tight on a Monday. Matthew Ackman just gifted 5 memberships on Hotep Jesus channel on YouTube. Appreciate you, bro. That's love right there. That's love. I got the NASCAR weekend coming soon. That shit was insane. I was VIP. We was on pit row. I was in the pit box. That was loopy. I was right there when they was changing the tires. All of that shit. Shit was dope. Shit was a lot of fun, yo. It's a lot of fun. I gotta be honest with you, man. You know, it was a lot of fun. The vibe was dope. You know, I wore my MAGA hat. I got a lot of compliments. I got a lot of weird looks too, but I got a lot of compliments. I don't think I'll wear it again though. I don't want to get NASCAR in trouble. Although I'm black, so it might be allowable. I don't know how that goes. But I got the NASCAR videos on my phone. I'm gonna upload those. Y'all gonna get those on YouTube and locals. HotepJesus.locals or locals. It's Hotep Jesus on local.
Call from
Jonah.
Are you double dipping?
No, I had to after the last caller.
Okay.
So you know how I do my other things, right? I don't post it on your channel, but I do my own things. So this week I blew my fucking mind right on air, right while I was recording, right? Do you know what the name of all these graphene nano machines is?
What?
Janus, U.S. Janus.
Oh,
so all those
Janus
self-assembling graphene nanobots that are in those people named Janus. Yeah.
All right, get off my line, Jonah. I got calls coming in.
Now, Janus is also the god of portals, right? So they're if you go back to the Elon shit, which again, portals.
Yeah.
Yeah, bringing it all in, bro. Now my point on Elon too, I forgot that again. Yeah, but whatever. I sent you a text message on that one. But yeah, Janus is the name of all these nano machines, so people need to really dig into this.
All right, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, Hotep build.
Hotep and build. Fucking Jonah over here double dipping and shit. See? What is y'all on? See? I told y'all that fucking portal, yo. It's a 6th day. You think I be making this shit up? Yo, even people be acting weird on the 6th day. Just got that energy. I don't know what the fuck going on in the Matrix, man. But you follow the numbers, you can see the Matrix. Today's the 6th day. Everybody koofy on extra tight. Yo, Jules, get in here, man. Fucking Jonah was over here double dipping. Get in here, pause. We're gonna keep pause alive. I don't think I'm saying anything else but pause. Like the pause game has never been more relevant. And without Harlem, we wouldn't have the pause game.
Hotep.
The pause, some people get annoyed with the pause, but the pause is more relevant now than ever. And I'm not gonna say anything more. I'm just gonna play the pause game. I'm not gonna oppose anybody's belief. I'm just gonna say pause. Because we gotta keep the pause alive. You know? I don't know. We need that. We need that for us. And it's no disrespect. It's no disrespect intended. We just clarifying things. You know, we clarifying things. Our ancestors clarified that. We're going to clarify that.
Call from
Rue Scheffner.
Yo, Jules, what up, man?
What's good? What's good?
What's up, bro?
Hotep, my G.
Yeah, we in here.
Hey, man, look. I'm just damn applauding on another amazing show today, bro.
Oh, Jules. Oh, it's you. Yo.
Yeah, man. See, look. Hey, yo. They got my cooking name out there. I didn't even know they was coming up, so I was like, let me run with it some kind of way. But, man, it's Jules, man.
Okay, what up, bro?
I don't know, man, but shoot, man, like another nice little show you put together, bro. You started off with that lady talking about the transgender effect.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you wrapping up with the Elon for the transhuman. So man, that's like it's a double whammy. Pause. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So, man, look. So as you can see, bro, we under attack, man. We under attack.
Talk about it.
Look, bro, I went back and checked out the Joe Rogan program that you was on, man. That joint aged so well, bro.
Did it?
It aged so well, man. So what you were talking about then, look how it's coming to light now.
It's ugly. It's ugly out here now. It's nasty.
And I only caught snippets of it, so to go back and really the piece that joint together, man. That's why I knew when I was calling you Neo, it was divinely guided, bro. The way you, like I said, the grift of the century. It's coming to light. Shoot, man, like you really got the Black Howard Stern on Smash on the daytime tip. Paul. You feel me?
The Black Howard Stern in the daytime. I like that. I like that.
Hey, but I'm just calling like I see it, bro. But at the same time, like I say, you helping connect a lot of dots. You putting the streets on the real game. And I mean, that's a beautiful process, bro, you going through. So shout out to your team. You know what I mean? Like
Facts.
Every day, you got me figuring out how to tune into the live aspect of it because, like I say, watching it on the back end to be able to want to dialogue with you, man, it's a beautiful situation how you put it together for us to call in because I'm seeing you got a following for real, and you multifaceted with all your streams. So,
Thanks,
man, it's just gonna keep growing. But I'm trying to get out there to, you say Hotep Con?
Yeah, Hotep Con.
Man, look, man, I got some situations down in the Carolina that might prevent me from making it this one, but man, the spirit would definitely be in the building, bro.
Well, we plan it next year, so next year's plans are already in motion. In fact, when we're at Hotep Con this year, the people that are there are going to contribute to giving their opinions on how they want it for next year.
Yeah, because it's like, when I say it's like it's so much to talk about on so many levels, bro. Because like we really in like a Mortal Kombat leveling up of fighting this system that's really like out for the melanin, out for the carbon. Because like this melanin is a very valuable resource that we have, but all of a sudden it's like everybody that got jumped into this little sushi bowl of being like considered as food because the globalists really have put it in a position to where they don't want no testosterone out here from the warrior side of the game.
Big facts.
So from the food, that's why, I mean, even when I'm talking about this gourmet grift with you, it's because I'm really watching how the food is being marketed to people as like healthy and all this with another, but it has all these soy and cancer causing derivatives within them that's really weakening the youth. And it's kind of like they being sodomized from the inside out. So we
and the food, initially when you mentioned the food, the first analogy I thought of, I was thinking about information. To me, like what you said also describes information.
Yes.
Because the information's being marketed as if it's good for you.
Yes, that's why I say, man, that's when like the gourmet grift is kind of like how I got an appetizer, like a truffle treat meat slider over arugula. You know what I mean? But man, they got Glorilla on TikTok eating a bite out of it from Burger King, and you like, oh, I gotta get me some of that truffle treat meat slider. It's got arugula. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they really using like our thirst for luxury and our ignorance to where they don't Trojan horse our innards. And coming from the South, really looking at poverty food be marketed in a way that it could be pushed as like a delicacy. And I watch all these cultures come into America from having what we would call like the little generic American-based diet.
Yeah.
So when they're eating other countries' poverty plates and acting like it's all decadent and delectable, and we running around here with all these inflammations and disease and this like all these side effects from this having real bad information. Our intake from the beginning of our diet ain't allowing us to live it. So on the flip side to it, it's kind of like, how do you get folks to be more aware of it ain't gonna be necessarily so flavorful to get what you need. Like we gotta break out of that
like kids.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you how. So peep game. When there's information and you want people to be intrigued, you hide it from them, right? So somebody, mentions a subject matter, y'all talking, and then you'll say something, you'll be like, all right, never mind. And you just switch subjects. They be like, nah, hold up, say what you want to say. And that what that does is initiates a different part of the brain because now the person's asking for the information. So now the information is actually going to go in. When the information's not prompted, that's why I say humans are the first piece of artificial intelligence. So when there's no prompt, the machine is not going to intake. So you have to first trick the person into prompting the information, and that's one way. That's a prescription on how to prompt the mind to be intake. I just gave you a fucking $1 million gem right there.
Oh yeah, man. Because I looked at it like in the movie Inception. It's how do you place those type of placebos in the atmosphere for people to act like they made that gravitational connection themselves, but you know you had to be the Johnny Appleseed, the planet ahead of time.
Yes.
For it to grow and bear fruit. And then you have to massage the room and the environment for people to really kind of walk down a Wizard of Oz yellow brick road trail to connect those dots. And that's why I keep applauding you, because you're giving us the even you said earlier as far as how to approach a mathematical problem. These things are not really taught in the masses. So most folks don't approach problems properly. Not that they couldn't solve them, like they don't have the adequate capabilities, but the methodology is all off track. So when you create basically like your playground right now, and you learn to be like, well, I got to get the ABCs before I start talking about the do re mi's. So it's like, man, to be a part of this conversation with you, man, I already know it's divinely inscribed, because I've been mentally challenging this. You know what I mean? Because when I sit back and look at the grifters of today, it's too many looking forward for the wrong, like I say, the wrong reasons.
Wrong reasons.
Where everybody got to get a little piece of paper at the end of the day to feed, feed the folks, to feed the family.
Correct.
But the delusional ego just being stroked, that's what so many people do it for. Most people have never been real life famous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you really been somebody in real life, you don't really do this for the fame at all.
Right.
You do this for the freedom fighters that need a little light.
Yeah.
To see that tunnel is still there, because like I say, me coming back to North Carolina from a small town, like I know that my path wasn't my path, because I was in Washington D.C., Maryland, Alexandria, working at the highest end restaurants. I was really like the Kyrie of service, because I refused to take that jab. So me having to push aside the glitz and the glamour of serving the highest Don P's and the Chateaubriands and like caviar plates out of Maestros and Trident broilers out of Black Wall and certain, cocktails for the elite of the elites, getting that real tip bag and saying, no, I can't participate in this foolery because I've seen the writing on the wall for so long. And there's like the sound of the alarm is really being pressed in a silent code. And it's like you even saying the numerology, today is the 6th day.
Yes.
People are really not aware of what's governing the energy and the actions. So the more we continue to build, and like I say, use these Trojan horses to dissect what's truly going on, to be light years ahead, so we can walk our people back into a peaceful path. Man, I'm with you, bro. So, man, like I say, man,
I appreciate you, man. Energy, yo. I appreciate you, yo.
I was sitting here listening to the show.
You know what my issue is, yo? I'm gonna tell you what my issue is.
Tell me.
I've been famous my whole life. I'm used to being the man. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
That's
like all of my adult life, I've been the man. You know, like even my senior year, I was the man. You know what I mean? Because I did my own everything. The moment I departed and decided to do my own thing, I became the man. So and that sort of happened at like the age 16, 17 for me. Because before then, I was kind of like, freshman year, I thought I was Tupac. You know what I mean? I don't know who I thought I was sophomore year. But, I was nice on the soccer field. So if I wasn't the man in school, I was the man in sports. So I was used to being the man somewhere, somehow. So, and then like I had my own record label when I was 19. This was back in, no, not 19. I was about 21 then, because this was 2001. 2001, I had my own record label. That's when Big Timers like really first got popping, the spinning rims and all of that. Then after that, I had my own blog. That shit was popping. Then I had me and Demic was touring artists. So like when you get off stage, like I remember going to do shows, right? And it'd be shows performing 5,000, 10,000 people, all within a really dope young demographic. You know what I'm saying? And you walk in and nobody pays no attention to you. And you walk off that stage and everybody like, hold up, who is y'all? Like, da-da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? And now you like selecting girls that's allowed backstage. You know what I'm saying? and it was very different. So, and then I had the 50 Cent situation. Now the 50 Cent situation, again, I had already been famous. So when the girls was coming, I was looking at them like, ugh. You know, I was off that.
Dessert.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. You already had enough of your dessert.
Yeah, I already had, you know, I already lived that life. I was there to work, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that shit was popping. I remember one of the girls that we had hired, this bitch had to be like 35 years old. She tried to tell us she was 29. I'm like, yo, bitch, we've been working together for 3 years and you've been 29 the whole time. Yo, how old are you? Tall ass Russian chick. So we was in the club, and I think Bobby Trends was DJing that night. He was DJ'd on Friday. We used to be on Hot 97. And she was like, yo, are you gay? Da, da, da. I'm like, what? I'm like, she's like, you don't never hit on me. I'm like, I don't hit on you. She was like, yeah. I'm like, then she grabbed my hand and made me grab her butt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, I just came to work, baby. Like, it's not even like off that. Plus, I got a girl. You know what I mean? I straight up told her, I got a girl. You know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, okay.
Man, that chi was bursting out, your Tai Chi was bursting out your chest. You couldn't get enough of it. She sitting right there, was like, oh my God, I gotta get some of this pose.
Listen. A pimp told me, don't look at these hoes.
Hotep, you're a genius.
I spoke to a pimp. The pimp, I said, yo, how you get all these bitches to do this shit? He was like, I'll tell you the secret. I was like, what? He's like, don't look at them. It's like, what? It's like, what? Blew my mind. I'm standing there, you know, I the whole night, because we was at the club, the whole night I'm just thinking to myself, like, that's just so profound. But I was so engrossed in my work, I wasn't looking at the girls. I was just like, bitch, is you on time? Are you passing out the drinks? Like, I'm on, you know what I mean? You know what time I'm on.
You had a different
agenda.
Focus, man. You had a mental nut you were seeking.
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So superseded all that. And plus that pimp was telling you, man, you already know Medusa turned him into stone.
True.
So that eye contact, man, it's all gems in this junk, bro.
Yeah.
Like
so now that I'm here and I'm Hotep Jesus, you know, one, people are like, how does he have this skill? I'm like, because I've already done this a bunch of times. Two, I'm jaded to the fame. So like I don't have it in me to tweet a grift, you know, to grift the tweets. People's looking at me like, Hotep, why don't you go hard on Twitter? I'm like, I don't got it in me. I don't care that much.
But I think our age, before, like we really was famous before the internet type. I'm not saying me like in your level, but I know for I walk amongst this earth, city to city, state to state, how I'm known amongst real folk. It's a different energy when you didn't have to really try to polarize yourself to the internet for validation versus you saw it real time. The expertise of walking, your life showed you through years and years of relationships who you truly are. Most people don't, and we came into a society recently where the interaction is gone. It's gone. So imagine going to places back then where it wasn't a phone to be the buffer or the barrier between socialization. So we had to have skills to socialize in order to get things done a certain way by certain people. And then it's just, like you say, it's the grift or the influence of trying to portray on these little all the world stage type of mentality of taking somebody's bathroom and making it a fashion studio now, or like just the whole trying to portray you something that you really not for acceptance by strangers.
Selling your ass is digital prostitution. That's what it is.
Man,
digital prostitution, man.
Sims.
Everybody a
We
whore.
really looking at people maintaining a Sims mentality. And now, like I say, watching it transition from being in the hospitality world up in the capital to coming back to the Carolinas and just seeing like really a time warp. So I can reflect now. I can hear the birds and the crickets to give me more clarity versus the sirens and all the bells and whistles that can kind of distract your eyes and nose and your ears from being really aware of what's going on, because it's such a maddening environment that you're around constantly. Your senses are always being tricked. So it's like my divine route back to getting some tranquility and peace, sitting here with my grandma playing some backgammon, you know what I mean? Just gardening right now, it's gave me some more clarity to process a lot of this stuff that I done damn near try to forget about, because, like I say, it wasn't enough Hotep Jesus around echoing the sentiments of my thoughts. So, man, it's a beautiful thing to hear these podcasts you're putting out, these snippets on different shows, and bringing the light in the satirical form with sarcasm, man. Like, that's what people they be so bent up in the emotions.
Yeah.
And you mastered that because of just knowing how to get riled up and knowing how to really push buttons to create a greater dialogue.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Vice versa, bro. I'm gonna continue to build with you, man. Like I said, I sent that message to you earlier, is to see how I can incorporate some of that, like I say, that potted meat pate on them to give a breakdown of his cognitive dissonance with you, bro.
All right, I'm gonna take a look at it.
That's what he do.
Word. All right, yo, Hotep and Bill, bro.
Hotep and Bill, and peace.
Peace. Shout out to Jules. Missy Jane, $50 super chat. What's up, love? She said, "Hey, Hotep, love your shows." Thank you. That's on Rumble. Shout out to my Rumble fam. Hit the like button. Hit the like button to jiggy the algo. You know, you gotta jig it like a lock. You know, you gotta jig it like you got a lock pick. You gotta jig that thing open. Dev Jules, $5 super chat. Appreciate you. He said they were still men and women. Ooh. Oh man, I missed that. Oh man, that's a gut punch right there. Oof. All right, let's see. What's this last one? Dev Jules, he said they mastered focus. Oh man, I like that one. Have you mastered your focus? If you have not mastered your focus, have you mastered your focus? If you have not mastered your focus, go to trymasterfocus.com. Get your brain pills. Get your brain pills. Get your brain boosters. We got them brain boosters on sale. Hold up. Bing bong. There you go on the screen right there. Go down right here. Look, hit the link in the description box. It's going to bring you in. It's going to bring you in. You're going to see your brain booster right there. Why does it look like that? All right, there we go. Bing bong. All herbal. You know Hoteps. You know we do herbs. That's just what Hoteps do. Don't ask me why. That's what we do. That's what Hoteps do. Hoteps do herbs. You're going to get a discount. When you go to your cart, hopefully it's still there. I'm going to go to my cart. I'm going to hit checkout. And it's going to adjust the price. And you'll see it right there. You see it says $39.90. $39.90 right there. But you got to hit the link in the description box below. Once you go to checkout, you'll see the discount applied. It's going to say Grift Report right there. Go get your brain pills. 100% herbal. You know, mushrooms. We got shrooms in there. Not those, you know, not Joe Rogan shrooms, the other type of shrooms. Go get you some of that, man. That's what I use, all right? Especially because I don't eat so well. You know, my diet, y'all be seeing what I be eating. Although I will be having some melon today. I will be having some melon directly after this. I'm about to go to kids' soccer practice, man. I got to coach some kids and shit today at the field. Turn these niggas into soccer players. You know what I'm saying? HotepCon tickets on sale right now. HotepNation.com/HotepCon. Cooley Bravo has been confirmed. Tanai Ricks, Sonny Johnson, Project Rook, the incomparable, Rook the Great. Go get your tickets. Look, I'm out of here, man. I'll be back tomorrow for the Grift Report, 2 p.m. I'll give you some announcements, people who's booked for the show. I'm back on Gutfeld in like 2 weeks. They loving me at Gutfeld.
Hotep, you're a genius. HotepJesus.com.
Man, I'm out of here. I'll see you tomorrow, man.
Yeah, I can try to get that handled for you. Again, it's only my second day, so if you can give me a second. How I'm supposed to do this? How the hell are we supposed to do this by 5 o'clock?
I have no clue.
Is that possible? Hey, do you have the password to... How'd you finish all your work already?
He's not tapped in. How'd you get that done so quick?
They think they're gonna be able to budget that?
It's money. That's money right there. You understand? You guys finished your work 6 hours early?
He's not tapped in.